Everybody. I am here. Can you hear me? Does it sound okay? Thank you, Mary Beth. That's very nice of you. I think it's pretty too. I think it's relaxing. I was doing the fractals there for a minute, and and then I was doing kaleidoscope, and then we had the fish aquarium. Hey, Dwayne. Hey, Stephen. Hey, Eugene. And then I was like, well, and then Thanksgiving happened. I was like, let's do something festive. And I think this is really like kind of tranquil, honestly, compared to the kaleidoscopes and the, the fractals. Fractals were kind of distracting. What's up, Wilco? How are you, my little ninjas? No one has told me if the sound is okay or not. I'm gonna do that for my. I'm gonna do a fireplace in the background. Uh, we have a couple of those picked out. Actually, have a big old outdoor bonfire. I keep thinking about moving to that. Greg's not here right now. I have a couple of videos for you guys. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, Wilco. And la, 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 la. Um, and the I have a video of Nancy Pelosi and I have another cop shooting video for you guys. I'll play in a little bit if Craig shows up. Craig's having some kind of car issues or something, so I didn't get the videos. I have the videos ready to go, but I don't know how to cue them into this device yet, this software. So oh, can't see me? Oh. There I am. Okay. So, I was just like, that is such a nice, tranquil setting, isn't it? I could just look at it all night. Why don't we just use this? Now, which again, Craig's not here. He would have pointed out to me earlier that I was not on video. You're not on video! And then I would have gone, oh, okay. Actually, he probably would have just pushed the button and put me on the video. But thank you very much for pointing that out. Okay. So, I have a cup of tea. I have a nice fat dab ready. Like I said, I have a couple of clips. I have a clip of Pelosi when she gets all riled up at the press conference today after the reporter asked her if she hates Donald Trump. Um, but if you want to call, you can call. But I have another video. I have another cop shooting video, and I have the Pelosi. But I wanted to talk about the Pelosi thing, right? I want to talk about Pelosi saying that no one is above the law, right? In America, no one is above the law. And the truth is that no one is above the law except for maybe Bill Clinton and George W. Bush. Certainly George W. Bush. I mean, we all know that George W. Bush lied us into a war in Iraq. And by we all, I mean the whole fucking planet knows that George W. Bush and Dick Cheney, with the help of the Pentagon and the CIA, lied us into a war in Iraq, which, in doing so, murdering 1 million innocent Iraqis. Okay? Now, if no one is above the law, why the fuck is George W. Bush not in prison? Okay? Because we all know he lied. We all know that he lied. Right? I mean, and by we, I mean the whole fucking planet knows that they lied, they fabricated lies. Anyone who challenged them, they outed an undercover CIA officer that was in charge of research on weapons of mass destruction in Iran. She's undercover in Iran. They out her because she's challenging what they're saying, and and in doing so, They ruined a whole spy network. Probably people were executed over it. And that's who. But of course, nobody's above the law in this country. It's not that we hate Donald Trump. I can't stand Donald Trump. I don't know that I hate Donald Trump. I can't stand Donald Trump. I've never been able to stand Donald Trump. I think he's a much better person as president than he ever was as Donald Trump. Okay, but these the Democrats are losing it, man. This impeachment thing, it's one thing to say, we're going to get this guy. What he's doing is wrong, and we're going to get him. It's another thing to stand up there and fucking say, no one is. This is in America. No one is above the law. Fuck you. We all know that's not true. Okay, every single one of us knows that's not true. Ask Joe Biden, right? Oh, I have a Joe Biden clip too. If Craig gets here, we'll play it. But it doesn't matter. We don't need the clips. We haven't had a lot of clips before. We don't need the clips now. We're good. So we just go ahead and do our thing. But like I was saying, I think it's quite ridiculous for Nancy Pelosi to approach this in this way. And again, it's this thing where we deserve better. I mean, there's just, we all know the truth, and she's lying. And okay, so I mean, if what Don she says, and then she says the Constitution and the oath that we take to the Constitution to protect the Constitution to all foreign and domestic enemies. I mean, as if she's truly, as if these actions are truly sincere. But we all know that these people have worked to completely destroy the Constitution. Nancy Pelosi has led the way. She's the leader in the House. She has led the way in destroying the Constitution. And now she wants to act like her oath to it matters. You know, it's just one thing to be. It's one thing to be fucking trying to take down the president because you think it's what the law calls for. It's another thing to act as if, he's the only one that ever deserved this kind of action. You know, or that you don't let people walk away who deserve this type of action. Because what George W. Bush did has soiled the good name of America quite possibly forever. Okay? And if we were to hold people like Dick Cheney, and the reason that it was done apparently was to make Dick Cheney super rich. Okay? So, and if we don't hold people like Dick Cheney, who murdered 1 million people so he could get money, he get lots of money. That's why he murdered 1 million people. Based on lies. No other reason, just to get money. And all of our soldiers. We were talking about, veteran suicides, right? Since 2001 or whatever. But the late I have a new hearing, and we'll post it later tonight. But on veteran suicides and prevention of veteran suicide. Yes, we're doing such a good job. We're talking about how it's 21 a day. So it's not just that 4,500 or 4,700 troops died in Iraq. It's that, tens of thousands have died by taking their life because they couldn't fucking handle it anymore. What happened in Iraq. They couldn't handle being responsible for a lie in which 1 million innocent people died. Women and children died first. So we understand better. and so many veterans are paying the price. Meanwhile, Dick Cheney's fucking taking Cougaran baths, $100 bill baths, I don't know, $1,000 bill baths. He's disgusting human being. It seems like that's exactly the kind of thing he would do. And Nancy Pelosi wants to get up there and talk this shit. Okay, again, I can't stand Donald Trump. I'm no fan of Donald Trump. I'm not really here to defend Donald Trump, but this is such a load of bullshit. And how knowing the facts, anyone can look at her and take her seriously, or any of this fucking circus anymore, right? Our government needs to be burnt to the ground and start over. It's just a stack of lies. It's just a stack of. That's it. Okay, so thanks everybody for tuning in. My name is Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mock News. We are doing live call-in show Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Same mark time, same mark channel, 7 p.m. Pacific. You are all more than welcome to join us each and every Monday through Friday. And thanks so much to all you guys who are here every Monday through Friday. You're the greatest. And so that's where I'm at. You know, and then I have another shooting video, another police shooting video, which I'd really like to play for you. If we don't get it today, we'll get it tomorrow. I like the idea of holding these people accountable. I think that if it was the Democrats saying we have to investigate the lies that led us into a war in Iraq and then hold the people accountable, hold the people who murdered 1 million innocent Iraqis accountable, then I'd be all for that. But they're not doing anything like that, and they never have, and they never will. And they don't care to, because they're all culpable, which means that they're legally also guilty in assisting these crimes and making it possible for these crimes to happen. So the last thing they want to do is start an investigation into the crimes of Iraq. So it's not just George W. Bush and Barack Obama, who get away with high crimes and high misdemeanors. Not even high misdemeanors. It's high crimes. Crimes against humanity with no one doing a damn thing. And then they want to act high. But it's not just them. It was with the help of the entire Congress, which makes the entire Congress legally culpable, which means they deserve to be impeached. And that's the reason we'll never get honesty out of this subject. Hello, caller.
Hey, Michael, how's it going?
Going fine. How are you, Steven?
No, I'm doing okay. Actually, I'm doing great.
That's good to hear, man.
Yeah, no, I ended up helping my friend get his mold back in the plastic mold injection machine, which was the son of a bitch. We also ended up having that thing like literally explode, spark out, catch on fire, all today. Just fun shit, working.
Well, that sounds like an adventure to me.
Well, it is a Chinese, machine about the size of a school bus. So, you know how that kind of stuff can work. Have you ever seen any of those OSHA safety regulated videos that are not from America?
I don't think so. Doesn't ring a bell.
Okay, have you ever seen any of those safety videos from other countries like China?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, a lot of the times you end up seeing people cutting their arms off or fall or having cave-ins or getting electrocuted. You always see that kind of weird stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that kind of stuff is you gotta be careful for if you're working,
Well, yeah, if you're doing work with electricity, you have to be careful, Steven.
Oh, I have no idea. I have zero understanding of electricity. I legitimately...
Well, you understand that if you're working with electricity, you have to be careful, very careful, right, Steven?
Well, yeah, I understand that. So I end up making sure that there's no electricity to what I'm working on. because I de-energize it.
Good.
So
you do understand some things about electricity.
I do understand that I do not want to get shocked.
That's an important, valuable thing to understand, Stephen.
Yeah. Tell you the truth, I kind of understand it, but I'm still like getting like confused about it. Like, okay, so since we're talking about electricity, this is going to go ahead and tie into the conversation that I kind of want to go ahead and have with you. Because I just had this conversation with my friend about electricity. I just had this conversation. Okay, so the thing is that we ended up getting like talking about like it was like machines that would just give you free electricity. Okay.
Yeah, like Tesla.
So, well, my friend kept on bringing up Tesla, and I'm like, okay, well, I haven't read too much about him. All I know is about the old school, towers that they wanted to put in the sky and just like literally emit energy waves throughout the whole entire city to power everything. That's the only thing that I remember about it, except, that kind of stuff exists nowadays. We got those charging pads for telephones and all that other kind of stuff. But yeah, no, we were kind of discussing, like free energy, and I ended up telling him about an idea that I had, because I'm like, okay, magnet. Very simple. It's a natural phenomenon. You can go ahead and like take a look at a magnet and realize, there's this weird ass force trying to push it apart or trying to pull it together. Well, I'm more or less talking about the reflective part where it doesn't actually connect, it repels. So the thing is that I was telling my friend, hey, I have this idea in my head. We've been talking about free energy for like a year or so. So I have this idea in my head about, this magnet that you can go ahead and like put in, like circle, and you can go ahead and like give it like an initial like turn, like just give it a little turn.
Yeah.
And then the magnets will do their job and continuously push off against each other.
Right.
So you will have
perpetual
you
motion.
will have a continuous, you will have like perpetual motion. The thing is I was just like imagining it. Imagination. I was thinking it could work.
It does work. You can look on YouTube and find it right away.
Yeah, I know. My friend ended up showing me right on YouTube. He ended up typing it in, and I'm like, wait, what? This is confusing as hell. But whatever I imagined actually exists and works. Okay, that's weird. I mean, like, the only reason I ended up figuring out that free energy is a real thing is because, Zach Voorhees from Project Veritas did an interview weeks and weeks ago, and he was talking about the E-Cat machine. If you type in E-Cat, E space C-A-T, if you type in that machine on the internet, Google actually...
Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. Google ended up erasing them off the internet. And then
Google is evil, YouTube is evil, the people who run it are evil. Anyone who is vanishing information from the public, and have the ability and do it in mass quantities is pure evil.
Michael, what is the issue with finding out who these people are? It is not difficult. The state has set up systems in order to go ahead and figure this out. The Alphabet Corporation is the people that run Google and YouTube. You just do a quick little Secretary of State search, business entity on the Alphabet Corporation in California, You can easily see all the details on that company, I believe, because I haven't done it yet. But the thing is like you can actually see who the president is. You can see all the special little details that they really don't want you to see, don't want you to know about. You can see the whole chairman of board of chairmen, I believe. I mean, like, the Secretary of State business entity search is a very important tool that a lot of people should start to really utilize. Okay, because it's going to tell you who owns what and why they're doing it.
Good thoughts. That's good plan, Stephen. I think people will probably are beginning to wake up and using those tools, those type of tools, a whole lot more.
I mean, like the thing is that it like literally took me 1 minute to go ahead and explain to my friend why I'm. Well, it took me 1 minute to explain to my friend why I'm not going to really be on YouTube all that much in a week. You know, I mean, technically, Zach Voorhees. I mean, like he used to work for Google. You know, except he became a whistleblower. And then the thing is that he ended up completely outing himself, put himself way out in the open, not with his dick out, but with basically Google's dick out, and ended up giving his name out to everyone in order to protect himself. So he didn't get, screwed over by the corporations or KO.
Yeah, and of course, it's the kind of thing you have to worry about whenever you're going up against people like Google.
Yeah.
They shut you up. They put you in prison.
Wait, hold on. Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Okay, sorry. Occasionally I get like a little bit of a breakup on the phone, but yeah, no, Zach Voorhees, with oh god, Project Veritas.
Uh-huh.
That a lot of people end up saying, oh, that's like a government plan or if these people are like talking about other people and like legitimately saying like dirt about them, like legitimately talking shit. I tend to believe people when they start to talk shit, and then things start to go a little funny, and then just things happen. It's a little bit weird.
Well, let me bring that back around. Okay, look, this is Nancy Pelosi. Okay, and we're talking about Nancy Pelosi tonight. All right, and Nancy Pelosi is talking shit about Donald Trump, and yet she lets all these other presidents get away with murder in the most heinous fashion, based on lies. And then she acts like no one is allowed to fucking break the law, and we have to honor the Constitution. And if she wasn't acting all sanctimonious about the Constitution, and no one fucking gets away with breaking the law of the United States, which is a load of fucking horseshit, so you bring it back to that. So what are you saying, Stephen? What?
Basically, for Nancy Pelosi, I'm going to go ahead and play devil's advocate. Okay? You want the terrorists in your backyard?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Do you want the
What the fuck are you talking about? Okay, the border has been wide open since 9/11. 4-year-old little girls are walking across the border on a daily basis, completely undetected. There is no terrorist. Pelosi advocate.
Tell you the truth, I'm definitely not for Pelosi. I'm not.
Well, you said you were going to play devil's advocate, so I thought that meant Pelosi.
No, I'm trying. I failed miserably.
There is no terrorist. I mean, there will be. They're coming. Because we killed There's all these little kids who we killed their parents and their grandparents and their siblings, and they're on their way.
Well,
It might be a generation before they get here, but they're coming, and that's what the Pentagon wants, and that's what the fucking government wants. Because if you have that on your fucking doorstep, then you have never-ending. Then you will be the first one to advocate never-ending war, to do whatever it takes to make it stop. And what they're going to advocate to make it stop is exactly what made it start in the first place, and exactly what will perpetuate it forever.
What they will go ahead and advocate for is terrorism is coming to your doorstep. You need to give us your guns. We will keep you safe.
Yeah, because that makes no sense whatsoever. But that is what they've been advocating.
It doesn't matter.
Forever they've been saying the terrorists are coming, the terrorists are going to get you, but we have to take your guns to make sure you're safe. How does that make any sense whatsoever?
Do you think anything that they say makes sense?
No. I think that to some people it must make sense.
Eventually they're going to get there.
I think when Nancy Pelosi says, no, in America no one is above the law, to some fucking sick in the head Hillary Clinton voters who believe no one's above the law, especially Hillary Clinton, even though the FBI, even though the FBI told her not to delete any emails, at which point she immediately deleted at least 30,000 emails and smashed her phones and her fucking iPads with a fucking sledgehammer. So we understand, if any one of us had done that, we would be in prison. But of course, no one is above the law in America.
You want to know something interesting about those 30,000 emails?
No. What?
There's at least 30,000 emails in other people's email accounts from Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, you can't delete emails. You want to know something interesting about emails is you can't delete emails, okay? The government has all your emails. So whatever it was that she did is fucking...
I already know that.
And the whole thing is a fucking lie that no one in America is above the law. Because if you had deleted a bunch of emails after the FBI told you not to delete anything and then smashed your cell phones and your iPads with a fucking sledgehammer, you'd be in prison right now. Okay? So go ahead and tell me again how no one is above the law.
Let me give everyone a good piece of advice. Go ahead and get a Proton email account. ProtonMail.com. If you get one of those...
You immediately go on a government list. Go ahead.
It is so damn secured that Switzerland doesn't... Like, it is like peer-to-peer, the same way torrents work. Okay, so it's like an individual connection through the internet in a secured form. It's not like Google where anybody from Google can read your email.
Well, okay, I think that sounds like a good thing. I've heard of Proton before. I don't know. Again, this is one of those things when you sign up for that, you immediately go on a government list so that we understand each other. Because they hate people who fucking try and fucking... Because you're trying to go around their fucking bullshit. And that sends up a red flag which puts you on a list. So you understand, Stephen.
Okay, tell you the truth, I have not signed up for Facebook. The only thing I have...
But everybody signs up for Facebook. That doesn't put you on a list. When you try and go around the government's fucking little, fishing nets, that sends up, you understand this, it sends up a red flag, and they go, oh, what does this guy have to hide? And then you're fucking on the list, and they fucking can look at anything that you have without any kind of censorship.
I would also go ahead and, my friend ended up telling me I probably shouldn't go ahead and, download this and use it, but I have been using it successfully for well over a decade, so I don't mind, but I do use the Onion or the Tor, basically for mobile, which is what I'm using right now. It's called Orbit.
Uh-huh.
Well, ORBIT. It's basically the onion. I want to say Onion browser because they do happen to keep on pushing that on me. But basically, what it does is it obfuscates your IP address, and it allows you to go ahead and place yourself virtually anywhere in the world.
Yeah, well, I don't know that that's like the best thing for people to be doing either. I don't want to be advising
Well,
people to be doing stuff like that in any way. So, I mean,
well,
it's good that you have these options and that you don't hesitate to, take the options that you have. But it's people need to be aware of the fact, like when you do these things that are like, you try and go around the government's fucking little fishing net, that it does send up a red flag. I mean, but probably a whole lot of a million things probably send up a red flag. So whatever.
I mean, like, tell you the truth, I really don't care what they think.
Yeah, no, look, Steven, I'm on fucking every government list, so I could give a damn either. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard.
Okay.
I'm sure you've heard my fucking voicemail, right? It talks about
Shoot, not.
how I'm under constant audio and video surveillance, and men in black follow me everywhere. You haven't heard my voicemail greeting?
No, because I really only respect you when I call you during the show.
Oh, okay.
Because I do not call. Yeah, I mean, like, to tell you the truth, that's a pure form of respect for you.
Yeah,
Because
no, I
I
thought
do
that you
know.
might have been pushed to voicemail once or to the fucking. Never mind. But
Oh,
that's all I'm
no,
saying is
I
that voicemail. It says my voicemail greeting says that be careful what you say because I'm under constant audio and video surveillance, and men in black follow me everywhere. Okay, that's what my voicemail says.
I've
Now,
heard that.
yeah.
I've heard that.
So that is my voicemail from 1997. Okay, so long before there was fucking, you know, long before there was the Department of Homeland Security and the TSA and all this fucking 9/11 bullshit. I knew what was going on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You were actually okay. Not the new version of the term. I'm talking about like the '80s version of the term woke.
Yeah, what?
You knew what was going on. You were down with the crowd. You actually saw ahead. You got it.
Yeah.
I know. Why do you
Well,
think? Why do you think I still watch your channel every day for like the last dozen years?
yeah. So I'm just saying. I'm not. I'm not. I'm just saying. I think the voicemail greeting is hilarious. That's why I kept it from
Yeah,
1997. But also, I think it
that is
does.
true.
Yeah, it is true. It's funny because it's funny because it's true. This is one of the things that Homer Simpson says all the time. It's funny because it's true. And so that's what the facts are. All right.
Yeah, it, all comedy has to have a little bit of truth in it, you know.
Yeah. That way.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah, man.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah,
I
man.
did. I did want to go ahead and ask you a little bit about like the whole YouTube thing coming up in this week, in this next week.
Uh huh. What about it?
Um,
What do you want to know about
well,
it?
the thing is that Google has a artificial intelligence,
Uh huh.
correct?
Yeah.
You do know that it's called Deep Mind, correct?
I don't know what it's called, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, I don't know. It's been in the works for a long time, but technically, my thing is that they're going to be using quantum computers to go ahead and like run this artificial intelligence. And I mean, like, the thing about the quantum computers is that they're able to go ahead and do a calculation that would take a regular computer I mean, like, our best supercomputer, that's what I meant by a regular computer. Our best supercomputer, like 800 plus fucking days. And then all of a sudden the supercomputer can do it in like a couple hours.
Uh-huh.
I mean, like, the quantum computer can do it in a couple hours. And I'm like, okay, so now that we're, like, in this, like, possibility where we can have a processor with an on bit, which is a, 1, a 0 bit, which is an off bit. We can have a 0 or a 1. We're talking binary here. Okay, that makes sense. Now, the weird thing about quantum mechanics, I want to go ahead and discuss this with you, is that you can have a 0, 1, so it can be simultaneously both on and off. Okay, that's just a weird quirk that we're starting out with. That can happen. Okay, there's something else that I want to go ahead and discuss with you with quantum computers. In regards to it being on and off simultaneously, there is the possibility, seeing as how our processors are getting to the point to where they're so small, like the actual pathways for the electrons to travel down the processor, the actual channels of that processor, it's getting to be within 5 nanometers or so, I believe, if I remember correctly. Now, the thing is that the electron has the ability to jump channels, and it's able to go ahead and transfer. So
Okay,
you might
Steven, come on. What's your point, Steven? Come on, what's your point, man?
How the hell are they going to be using this stupid, like, technology? I mean, like, they're not even going to have any control over this technology. That where they're going to go ahead.
That's what they keep saying. They keep saying it's out of our hands. We're not the ones. We're not making. Humans aren't making the decision. Okay, so it's stupid. It's this whole fucking. I'm not in control. I don't. I mean, nobody wants to take responsibility for shit anymore.
Okay, look. The stupid thing is that the only reason I've been on YouTube for this long is because there's, like, comedy and satire and a little bit of humor. And the thing is that this machine won't be able to know any of it. It will like turn around and shit on everything that I used to love about YouTube. It's gonna censor all of it.
Okay, well, that's a possibility, but we don't know what's going to happen. So we're going to have to wait and find out. And that's what's happening. We're all in this transition period to see what fucking YouTube, Google does, and whatever it is they do, then we'll fucking deal with it, because that's all that we can do. But until then, it's just kind of speculation and anxiety for no reason.
If you do read Google's terms of service, they are a publisher. They need to have this, they need to have the tax exemptions revoked.
Okay. All right, Steven. I'm going to see if anybody else wants to talk about Nancy Pelosi. Okay?
Hey, yeah, Nancy Pelosi, oh God. Can we please just, like, not have Democrats, like, wreck our country for a little while? Like, at least another 4 more years?
It's possible, but I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can get somebody else to talk about Nancy Pelosi.
Hey, I do hope that we get a third party. When the Democrats, I sure hope they tear themselves down so much and the party disintegrates that there will have to be another party that forms. I really do hope that.
Yes, Stephen, you know that I hope that too.
Okay, well, have a good night, Mark.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and catch you up in the chat.
Okay, Stephen, we'll talk to you again soon. Okay, thanks to Stephen for calling. And I wanted to say that last point that he made about the Democrats and a third party. I think what we should do, which is that we should probably go back to what the founders said, right? The founders said to stay away from parties. So we should just. I've been saying that we should banish the Democrats and the Republicans. What we should do is we should just banish all parties. It should just be American voters. No Democrats, No fucking conservatives. No, I mean there'll be conservatives and there'll be liberals and there'll be this and there'll be that, but no parties. No parties, and they're not forming teams, right? Whoever they are, they can blend together and work together. They're not these guys on this side and these guys on this side, right? So that's what really needs to happen. I think is for us just to say no more parties. You know, I wanted to say just get rid of the Democrats and Republicans. The founders, they advised against there ever being parties. So, hello, caller.
Why not just vote your conscience, Michael Knight? How are you, buddy?
Hey, Dwayne. Well, this is kind of what I'm saying. You know, they got it boiled down to a football game, and we're on this side, and we're on the other people are on the other side, and we're the good guys, and the other guys are the bad guys. We're all Americans, and we're trying to get to the same place, which is protecting our freedoms. But they got us all divided, and I think we should just fuck all the parties. Just get rid of them all. Say no more parties.
Well, there are third and fourth parties. They're called the Greens and the Libertarians.
Right, but I say no more parties. No parties at all. None. No parties.
Well, you can still vote independents no matter what. No, I'm not saying.
No, everyone would be independent. There'd be no parties. There'd be no independent parties. Everyone would just vote. It wouldn't be a party. It wouldn't be like I'm on this side or this side. We're not doing that anymore. We're just Americans trying to pick the best person.
Party time, excellent. I'm just responding to Woko. Party time, excellent. Anyway, that's just his comment, man. Anyway, no, like I was just thinking that because like there's always tons and tons of independents that aren't associated with parties running in every single seat, in every single district in the United States, just like Canada. They always have an independent person, that you can vote for. Now, obviously, money talks, man. Like Bloomberg doesn't have a chance in hell to win, but he's going to spend $100 million putting up anti-Trump ads. No matter what, he's going to do that. Now, he doesn't have a chance of winning, and, money talks, man. Money talks, and I get it. The Democrats are in serious trouble right now. Nobody's interesting. Yes, Tulsi's interesting, but, like, I don't know. She doesn't have a chance anyway.
Well, they're hiding her. They're not letting people see how interesting she is. That's what the problem is.
They hid Gary Johnson. They hid Jill Stein.
Honestly, Dwayne, I think that they're hiding Tulsi more than they did those other candidates.
I agree.
Yeah.
And even Ron Paul, man, like during the one debate,
right?
They asked everybody else on the stage about healthcare, and he's like, "Hey, wait a minute, I'm the doctor. Why didn't you ask me?"
Yeah.
Like seriously. So the media is the one with the agenda. I really think the media is the enemy of the people, no doubt about it. And because it's not even media, it's propaganda. And I thought that's a war crime, according to the thing after World War II. Where they hung all the Nazis. What was that trial again?
Nuremberg. Yeah.
They said that stuff is propaganda, is a war crime.
Right.
And it's so true because you can go on CNN and you'll hear, and it could be from the exact same thing we all saw the other day with those four, constitutional scholars. 3 of them are saying this is an impeachable offense and all this, and we see it. And yet when they were asked what the impeachable offense is, nobody raised their hand. But anyway, and then you have the one guy who is a liberal anyway, who admitted he votes for Obama and voted for Clinton, but he says, look, there's no there, basically, right? Like we're going to destroy the country over this. And that Pelosi, I don't get it. They have tens of thousands of homeless people in her district shitting on the street, and she doesn't care about any of that, man. Like, they're shitting on the streets. They have, like apps for, Who Finder and all this kind of stuff. She doesn't care about any of the people that even voted for her. And, from what I can tell, nobody in San Francisco is ever going to elect a Republican or
Which again is part of the
non-Democrat.
problem, is if there wasn't Republicans and Democrats and that kind of bullshit, the stupid parties, then they'd just be looking at, okay, well here's Nancy Pelosi and here's the 5 challengers. Not here's the fucking Republicans and here's the Democrats and I'm on the fucking this side or that side. Here's 5 challengers and here's what they have to say and here's what Nancy Pelosi has to say and who do you think is the best? You know what? No fucking bullshit parties. The bullshit parties are fucking everything.
Well, who was it that we needed? And I think the first Democrat debate, maybe it was Yang or someone like that who said, look, we need a change in the age. Basically, we need to get to a new generation. Look, I'm a Gen Xer, okay? And there's obviously a lot of Gen Xers in this chat. I just think, like the whole thing about, what was this meme? Okay, boomer kind of thing. Like, I get that argument, too. We don't have any jobs because of the boomers anyway, because they don't want to retire, man. The price of food is going up. Like, they can't afford to live on a retirement. So they're just going to hang on until they can't work anymore and just die, right? How many old people end up dying right after they retire? Tons and tons, man. Tons and tons.
Yeah.
Just end up, and it just sucks. It's all the Federal Reserve. The economy is totally fake, man. It's totally fake. It's numbers on a computer. If you want to know you can't even call it money. It's currency, okay? Stop calling it money. A $20 bill in your pocket is not money. It's currency. Money is silver. The real word for silver is money, okay? And now, it's not even backed by copper and nickel anymore, which are base metals. They can't use precious metals. It's too expensive to even use base metals. They got to use steel. Like the Bible talks about how their money is going to rust. Look, like we're at the point right now where you leave your money in a snowbank, it's going to rust. It's so pathetic now. It's so pathetic. And it really is all about the currency and the power to manipulate currency. Prices are skyrocketing for food. I have 6 children, you know that. You know how much money I spend on groceries in a week to feed them right. Now, I could save a lot of money feeding them.
How much?
Oh, Jay, what would you say? $200 a week to feed our kids? At least.
Yeah, I would think that would be fucking really minimal. $200. I would think it would cost you a little bit, 50% more than that, really.
Well, that depends what I'm buying. So, sometimes I got to buy in bulk, right? Like
I know you buy whatever you need to buy, but I mean that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Feeding 6 people for a week on $200, I think that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, because I'm not going to do it on $100, man. Because I'm not buying Kraft Dinner and I'm not buying Pop.
Yeah.
Or Mr. Noodles, man. Like no way, that stuff's poison, man.
Yeah.
Last time I had Mr. Noodles and Kraft Dinner made me so sick. My kids don't even know what that stuff is, man.
Yeah, good.
My kids don't even know what that stuff is.
There's no nutritional value in that crap. They don't need to know what it is.
Nah, and MSG is just so bad for you. It's so bad for you. There's no way cheese comes in a powder, man. There's no way cheese comes in powder. I remember in Canada, they did this thing for this kid. I think he was vaccine injured, okay? But he was kind of autistic and stuff like that. And did some fundraising thing where he loves KD, Kraft Dinner. Because he's so autistic from all the vaccines.
Is that a restaurant? Is that a restaurant, KD?
No, Kraft Dinner.
Okay, Kraft Dinner, okay.
Yeah. So a whole bunch of Canadians ended up buying this kid like a year's supply of Kraft Dinner. And I'm like, way to make his autism worse.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And the kid was so happy. He's like, hey, you can't do this. And I'm like, dude, like, I went in the comment section of CBC. I'm like, you people are so fucking stupid. Send the kid some vegetables and fruits and vegetables. Like, oh, man, give him some chelation and detox that kid. He's obviously suffering from heavy metal poisoning or something,
Yeah. The world's gone screwy, Wayne.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I can't stand this. But I can't stand this stuff with Nancy Pelosi talking about, when she gets up there and and our oath to the Constitution requires us to protect it from all enemies, domestic and foreign. It's like. It's like just such. I mean, right? It's like my head explodes. I mean, I'm just like, how can you just feel like I don't know. It's like I talked about when Trump looks at us and says, he doesn't know anything about WikiLeaks or Julian Assange. It's the same fucking shit. It's like, I mean, it's a very, very similar feeling. Like, you know, uh, again, the fucking people that we're supposed to turn to and trust more than anyone else are leading us down a trail of bullshit that's coming out of their mouth. And it's fucking disgusting. And I know that you have something to say about Nancy Pelosi.
Dog, like, okay, she talks like a retard. She can barely talk. She's as stupid as Biden. That's why I was saying we need to actually get rid of these gerryandrics and bring in some, like, people no older than 50. Like, I do like the younger crowd of people. I like Cory Booker. The guy's a good talker. Now, that kind of freaks me out because Obama was a good talker and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
That kind of freaks me out. But, like, we got to get rid of these old people. And even though I cling to those old values, man, I don't have a cell phone.
Well,
I haven't had a cell phone in 10 years. I'm not on Facebook.
Look,
I was the first on Facebook and the first one off, and I'm so glad I am.
Look, Dwayne, it's not that we have to get rid of these old people because they're old, okay? The truth is the reason we have to get rid of people like Nancy Pelosi is because they're the people who've led us to this moment where we're like, what the fuck are we going to do to save the planet? And they won't fucking get out of the way so that we can do it. Okay, they're the gatekeepers. What we have to get rid of is these gatekeeper motherfuckers who won't let us progress into the 21st century.
Like, I just heard about how Jerry Nadler got his seat, eh?
Uh-huh.
It was a state Democrat seat, and the guy that was running in New York, like the day before the election, he died. He just dropped dead of a massive heart attack, and I think this was back in like 1977 or something like that. I just heard about this. I was listening to Michael Savage's show. It was really interesting yesterday.
Wiener Savage. Michael Wiener Savage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I love that show, man. Like he's got some brains, and he's
a Wiener Savage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so. I know his last name's Wiener. I get that. He's a New York Jew and all that. I totally get that.
He goes by Savage. He's a Wiener Savage. He chose that name, Wiener Savage. Think about it, Dwayne. He's a Wiener Savage.
He's so smart, though, in so many ways, man.
I know. A lot of people love to listen to that guy.
Oh yeah, and he's bang on right. And his show yesterday, I was just listening to it this evening, and until your show came on, of course. Mm-hmm. I shut it all off to listen to Mike and all these crazy people in the chat, man. I shut it all off. I turn off Hannity. I turn off Laura Ingraham. I haven't watched Laura Ingraham in 3 weeks now because of you.
Well, I know that my show is funner than hers. I know that.
It is. It is. I get to hear some real people, like drunk-ass Pete. I get to hear from Steven. I get to hear from all these people that are real people. And that Mike guy, Michael, always calls in. And you know what? Like, I like him, too. Even though he criticizes me, fuck, I say so much shit about him. I don't care. Like, he's still a good person. I know he is. I can tell. I think he's kind of weird on the spiritual stuff. He doesn't quite get it. But that's fine, you know. Like, I still respect him. You know, like if you want to know what
I have a feeling that the feeling is mutual. So you know.
Yeah. And you know what though? I don't hate him. You know, like
I don't think there's hate going on in here. You know, I mean, as long as we're not talking about Jews. The second everybody starts talking about Jews, then it's like, oh God.
Last night I know I started a shitstorm last night when I brought that all up. And you know what's funny?
What?
That whole thing I was trying to prove a point about no one talking about the Native Indians. And after I hung up on that call, he called in, oh, I love Indians. And the whole conversation turned into Jews and Israel and Palestine. You proved my point.
Look, we're not talking about that again.
I know. I won't bring it up. And I'm sorry
But I mean, and it's not that I don't want to talk. It's not that I don't want to talk about Israel and Palestine, because I'd love to talk about Israel and Palestine, but it keeps boiling down to this fucking conversation about Jews, and I don't want to talk about Jews because I don't boil Palestine and Israel down that way. I don't I don't connect the crimes, the heinous crimes of Israel to all Jews, okay? I don't do that.
No, not the Jewish people, not the people who speak Yiddish, to all the people in the comment section. Hello, Yiddish, who cares? Like, You know, the factory worker in Israel isn't the one killing children in Palestine. Like, what the fuck? Wake up, people. And you know something? Why would you even care? Like, honestly, Mike, okay, so what? Who cares, man? We got injustice happening right in our country and
Yes,
your
and we
country.
care about
right
that
here on
too.
this continent,
And,
man.
and I care very much about that. I care very much about when it happens in your country. I care about when
Yep.
it happens in Hong Kong. I care about it a lot, man. Like I said, Dwayne, you know, I have another police video. I know Craig's here. I'll see if I can get lined up. But the you know like I was saying, you were talking about the kid on the bus who got shot by the police yesterday, and
Yes.
and I just want them to care more than just to fucking kill us, you know, because they had a choice with that kid. They have a choice when they pull a gun, right? This video tonight, you know, is this cop shooting at a person and missing and hitting the person that they're shooting at, mother, you know, and she's like 20 feet away. So it's you know, and I understand why the cop shot. I mean, and I want to show the video for a whole lot more reasons than, you know, just the cop
Well,
shooting.
what
you
made
know?
the change, man?
Yeah.
When was the change? When did these cops turn this way? I don't
It
know.
happened.
It seems like
It
it's only
happened.
been the
It
last 10
happened
years.
in the late '70s and the '80s when they did all this fucking shit with the drug war. When they did all this shit with crack cocaine and powder cocaine, you know, instead of just ending the drug war and taking the drugs away from the gangs became more and more powerful, and the cops then did the same thing. They became like, we have to be the biggest bullies on the block. We can't let the gangs act like they're going to be able to fucking bully us around or whatever. And it just escalated. It's the drug war. It's 100% because of prohibition.
Look, the cops I grew up in the 80s, all right? As a kid in the 80s, and delivering newspapers and stuff like that. And I loved going up to police officers and talking to them. I wouldn't do that now. People are, what'd you fucking talking to me for? What's your name? Show me some ID. Didn't they?
I don't know if they're that bad, but I mean,
So even in the 80s, they were just decent people. Now I'll be honest with you. You know I have two family members that are cops, and they're decent cops, okay?
Yeah.
But if push came to shove, and like I think it was Caitlin Bennett did a video where she got assaulted, and the cops actually wouldn't arrest the guy, and they saw him do it.
Huh.
Okay, we're just following orders. I forget what city it was in. It was probably in what's the one next to you, the other crazy left lane coast one, Portland.
Caitlyn Jenner got assaulted and Caitlyn Jenner got assaulted in Portland.
No, Caitlin Bennett. Who cares if Caitlin?
Oh, okay.
I mean,
okay. I was like, what? Go ahead.
No, you think I'd care if Caitlyn Jenner got your Caitlyn
Well, I
Jenner?
thought it was kind of weird. Yeah, I thought it was kind of weird, man.
No, Caitlin Bennett, Liberty Hangout.
Okay.
You know, Alex Jones contributor.
Mm.
I followed her YouTube channel, but she gets assaulted, right? Right in front of the cops. Is like, oh, we're told we can't press charges or something. You know, by a bunch of Antifa fucking thugs, right? Especially out on the left coast, it seems like Antifa can just do whatever they want.
I see the cops and I see what they do with the protesters in Portland and fucking Seattle and stuff, and they're trying to keep it as peaceful as possible, it appears.
But they're not arresting these fucking
If you
thugs
start
that cover their
arresting
faces,
people,
man.
then a cop's going to get hit or kicked or something, and then more cops are going to get jumped in, and then it's going to become like this big old battle in the streets, and they're trying to keep it from becoming a battle in the streets.
It's gonna be a battle in the streets.
It will be.
It's gonna be. It's coming.
But that's not. I mean,
coming.
Dwayne, you don't. I mean, I don't want to say that you don't know what that means, but I'm telling you that when it becomes a battle in the streets, the cops are going to have to choose a side. And
I don't think so. I hope they just stand back and let the libtards get their shit kicked out of them. Honestly.
Yeah. No, that's not what I'm talking about. The Antifa and the other.
All right. I was kind of trying to stay small like that, but
yeah.
Nah, the Civil War is coming if it hasn't already started. I get that. And I think it's kind of going to be gun owners against the government, and I don't think that's. I don't know. look, Americans, keep your Second Amendment. You actually have to fight for it. Like, you're going to actually have to fight for it.
Yeah.
I'm going out in the next month to actually get my gun permit here in Canada. So.
Oh, you don't have a gun permit now?
No, but I'm going to get one.
How much does that cost?
I'm going to have to protect someday, you know?
How much does that cost?
It's going to be like $400 for the course. And then if I want to get the hunting in with it, it's going to be like $800 for a weekend course.
Mm-hmm.
Or during the week, right? Like, it's going to be like 3 12-hour courses or something like that we have to take.
Mm-hmm.
And it's run by, these gun clubs in the area. And I have to get licensed, I have to go through a police check through the RCMP and all that stuff. But I'm clean as a whistle, man.
And that will allow you to do what?
To buy a shotgun or a rifle. I can't get a handgun. I could do that for an extra $400 because that's restricted firearms license.
Uh-huh.
The restricted license.
But anybody could do it for just an extra $400.
Yeah, like for $1,200, I can go purchase a handgun. A Glock anytime. For $1,200, then that's an extra 2 days of courses and stuff.
But you don't want that kind of gun?
I don't think I need that.
Well, you talk about protecting,
protecting
your family and stuff. I mean,
well, my church. If you're going to use it for self-defense,
from fucking bears, what?
If you're going to use it for self-defense, like, we have a bunch of people in our church that are ex-military, and they say, look, if somebody's in your home, the one thing they don't want to hear is the rack of a shotgun and not be able to see you.
Right. But the thing
is,
you're not going to sleep with a shotgun
under
your pillow, Dwayne.
What's that?
You're not going to sleep with a shotgun under your pillow.
No. No,
That's all
but
I'm saying. You got, it's look, I grew up with guns. I got my first rifle when I was 9. I got my first handgun when I was 10. By age 12, I was sleeping with a .357 under my pillow. So it's not. I understand, and that was just for protection of the house. So I understand. I understand what it means to be protecting the house. I didn't take the gun out of the house. Well, it depends on where we're going, but. So it's I don't know. A shotgun, and I agree. The last thing anybody wants to hear is that noise of a shotgun, but and I like the way that a shotgun defends. But a handgun is very quick. Very quick. Yeah.
I get that. We have Army guys in our church, and the one guy says, the one thing they all feared when they were in Iraq was a guy with a .308 who knew how to use it, though, a .308 rifle.
Well, that's like a hunting rifle, right?
Yeah, like.
Well, yeah.
That's what they feared. That's what the American forces feared when they were in Iraq.
Well, those guys are hard to see, man. They're far away.
Yeah, especially someone who knows how to use it, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm just thinking, I used to watch a lot of American Patriots. Now, obviously, this militia group I used to watch on YouTube got infiltrated by the FBI and all got busted.
Oh, yeah? Really? And they shut down the YouTube page, or what? You used to watch that on YouTube?
I've always wanted to go back.
You used to watch it on YouTube? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Like, I used to watch these guys on YouTube.
And you don't know if they're still around or not, huh?
Nah, interest changed. But, like, this guy used to have a Mossberg 12-gauge shotgun. Mm-hmm. And it was just...
That was a pistol grip?
It was just awesome. This guy showed everyone how to use it. Same with that. Who was that one guy? FTF Russia.
That's a very expensive gun, though, isn't it? It's like $1,200 or something, isn't it?
What's that? The Mossberg?
Yeah, the Mossberg shotgun.
Well, in Canadian bucks, probably.
I think it's a very expensive gun.
No, I could probably get one. I checked out Canadian Tire down the street here. Mm-hmm. They sell them in the one store we have here in my town. And I think it was like $800 for a 12 gauge. Mm-hmm. A Mossberg, anyway. I heard they're the best. I don't know.
Like, no, it's a good gun. That's a very, very good gun.
If I was I'm a good rock thrower too, just like the Palestinians. Man. I could hit you from 50 yards away.
Well,
no problem.
Look, if you have a bear, okay, Dwayne, if you have a bear that you need to get rid of, fucking use like a wrist rocket with a couple of marble-sized rocks, and the bear will go away. You don't need to fucking shoot the bear.
Yeah, Yeah, well, you know what? When I was in Algonquin one time, me and my buddy were Algonquin Provincial Park in Canada here, in Ontario. Someday might we'll go canoeing in Canada, man. But anyway, we were on this campsite, and you know what scares them away? Actually, it's just the smell of smoking tons of weed too.
Huh.
Believe it or not, around a campfire, just smoking tons of weed, and it's really cool running
Probably
the
smells
birds
like
in
a
the wild.
skunk. Probably smells like a skunk. They're like, I don't want to mess with a skunk, man.
Yeah, exactly. I drive down the street now. I love the smell of dead skunks on the side of the road. There's something wrong with me, man.
Yeah, I keep saying they should make a cologne out of that smell. It would be like, it would attract the right people. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, and you know what? It's actually really getting prevalent here in Ontario. Like, I went into a variety store just the other day. First thing in the morning, I think the store opened like 8 o'clock. I went in there before I went to work, or no, it was like 7 o'clock before I went into work. And it just reeked like dope in there. I'm like, wow, man. Like, 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, this guy's totally stoned, and his whole store stinks like it. No, it's a
You know
family-run
what?
store.
If that gets him through the day with a smile on his face and greeting his customers, I mean, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
You know what? It was just kind of weird. Like, I've never walked into a store and it just reeks like somebody smoked it. You know, like if I was working in a store, I wouldn't just smoke weed, but it didn't, it's the main floor of his house. Like, he lives upstairs. Like, what do I care? This is his home.
You know how cool Seattle used to be? We used to go shopping and we'd go into a store and they'd be like couches there, and they'd have like espresso machines. We'd go into a store and we'd be like, hey, can we burn in here? And they'd be like, sure. And they'd go and they'd lock the front door and we'd fucking all pull out a bag of weed and start fucking just blazing inside the store. And then fucking everything changed. Then 9/11 happened. And everything went to shit.
Is that what you think when everything did kind of change at that point? Well, the police state kind of went crazy at that point, I think.
Well, see, we had the grunge right before then, and then that fucking 9/11 hit, and it just like it kind of just fucking, it's like it sanitized everything. There was, kind of no more cool left. It's like you couldn't be on the edge. You were either with us or you were with the terrorists. You know what I mean? Either have you fucking cop haircut or you're one of them. And and most everybody falls in line when you've got those kind of choices.
And it's not like when you end up on their list, you're ever going to get off it. You're always going to be surveilled by them.
Fuck their list. I'm on so many of their lists. I'm on all their lists. Wayne?
So am I, except I'm a good driver. I'm not on any of their bad drivers list.
Yeah.
You know why I drive well? Local. If I don't get a speeding ticket, my insurance prices go up, man. That's why you drive properly.
You want to give those bastards more money.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care. I got a speeding ticket 10 years ago. They put my insurance up like 15%.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a bad time to be speeding. You know what sucks too when you're speeding too? They catch you in the middle of the day when there's nobody on the road. That's when you get busted for speeding. Nobody else is on the road and they got nothing else to do. You know what? During the day, slow the fuck down, stop at stop signs, and your insurance rates will go down and down and down. Especially if you're a man and you're getting older and older and older.
Did you see the live show on Thanksgiving, Dwayne? When we started it off with a video for the dash cam from us coming back from the casino, and there's like a BMW that fucking blows by us at about 110 miles an hour, and then like 2 minutes later, there's a cop with him pulled over. Did you see that?
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, there's tons of videos on YouTube with that instant justice and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was Thanksgiving right after that's how we started the show on Thanksgiving with that video.
Oh yeah, no, I think I missed that. But man, it's really nice to talk to you, buddy. And but yeah, like they have to get rid of someone like Pelosi. She's just absolutely fucking crazy. Joe Biden is absolutely crazy. Jerry Nadler is absolutely crazy. Adam Schiff looks nuts. Have you seen that? You know that Fox guy, Greg Gutfeld?
Yeah.
Have you seen his show imitating Adam Schiff?
I don't think Greg Gutfeld actually does the imitation himself, or
no, it's some staffer, obviously.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've seen that.
He has it on a show, and it was just so funny. It's absolutely really hilarious. Whoever they got doing it is really doing a good job, man. Like seriously. The guy's so funny. He sticks his eyes like right out, eh? I think the one segment was Adam Schiff learns how to play chess or something. And, it's just so funny. Like,
Yeah, the thing about Adam Schiff is that the Republicans want to call him to these hearings and make him testify, and they won't let them call him to the hearings for whatever reason. But I think that would be very interesting testimony. I'd love to hear the fucking the Republicans grilling Adam Schiff, man.
that's who they have to bring up. And I know that Joe Biden yesterday, he was approached by Fox News, and they said, hey, look, if you get called to testify, isn't this guy a fucking public figure now? He's not, like, in the White House anymore. So if they subpoena him, he's got to go, doesn't he, if the Senate subpoenas him?
Yeah, but I don't think that they're letting... Craig, are you doing something with this computer? Huh, something just happened on this computer. I don't think that they are... Nope, didn't do it. I don't think that they're letting him, for whatever reason, they're not letting the Republicans call him but I don't think they're calling anybody from Congress, so I don't know what the rules are and shit, but I really think that he would make a very interesting person in the whole thing when they start talking to him about, especially getting him under oath. I bet you the veins in his head would just start
Oh my
popping
God!
out.
Holy shit! No, you know what? Trump is right. Impeach him in the House and take the trial to the Senate.
Uh-huh.
Just go to the Senate, and you know what? Pooh Bum lover Lindsey Graham, he'll have a good time with that one, I'm sure. So I'm
That
sure
would be great. Yeah. No,
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, we will actually get to see what really, really happened. Like, why can't they call Joe? Biden actually said they're gonna fire that prosecutor. I'm taking my
Right.
$600 billion back to this or whatever it was.
Right.
He actually said that there is a real quid pro quo.
Yeah. No, I've seen that video too. I agree. There's and so why isn't the Biden being called to the and I had that on video today too. One of the people in his audience from a town hall today, he challenged about that. He said, you're calling out the president for this, but you did the same thing, and he got so pissed. He called the guy a liar, and he said he challenged him to an IQ test, and let's do push-ups right now.
Oh yeah.
Fucking, what an idiot, man.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I don't know. There's something really wrong with a lot of these Democrats. Some of these, all the Republicans on these committees are actually really good at one thing: show us the facts. And there are no facts, and it's just getting retarded. Like, I just really think they're going towards this AOC or something, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the little chihuahua that she is. Like, if Bernie actually picks her as his running mate, if she endorsed him, right? Let's say Bernie wins. He'd be in there 6 months, he'd have a heart attack, and that fucking little chihuahua from New York is going to be our president?
I don't know if she's I don't know if she's old enough or not. And I don't. What do you mean by chihuahua?
She looks like a chihuahua, man. She sounds like a chihuahua.
She's 30 years old. I'm not sure if that's old enough to be vice president or not.
Oh, that'd be good. That would be good, because that woman's trouble, man. And that Ilhan Omar, like, if we're going to protect, what about national security? And then this Doppel Cooper guy in your chat, all right? I was yapping off about Ilhan Omar and female genital mutilation yesterday. And he's like, he's trying to take a crack at the Jewish faith, right? There's been male genital mutilation for hundreds of years or whatever.
The Google says, I don't want to talk about male genitals. I don't want to talk about that.
There is none.
Yeah, okay.
Cutting off foreskin ain't like cutting off a clit, man. Whoa.
All right.
That's national security, man.
Yeah, they're right. It says that according to the Google, you can be 30 and be vice president. So yeah, you might be right. She may be the youngest president in history.
Yeah, because Bernie won't last long. And you know what? Bernie is actually a charismatic guy. I like him. At least he believes what he's saying.
Well, he says
Nobody else
again.
does.
The reason that I've for 16, 17 years now, the reason I've covered Bernie Sanders as well as I have is because he says important things that other people don't say. That's why I
Yeah.
like Tulsi Gabbard so much. It's not because whatever reason. It's because she says important things that other people don't say, and that's why it's so important to make sure they're part of the conversation because it opens people's eyes.
Yeah, and like I noticed that you do a good job of that. You pick up the middle kind of people. Bernie is an interesting guy. He really is. If this was 10 years ago, he'd have been a good choice.
Yeah.
It really would have been. I think now he's obviously too old. Now he's not. He doesn't have brain malfunction like Pelosi or Biden, but he actually has physical problems now, man. Like I know he was dancing it up to prove he's youthful and all that. Nah, it's not happening.
He seems to
And
be getting around pretty good. I mean, look. Here's the deal. Again, I watch these guys pretty close, and I was watching Bernie when he wasn't on stage pretty hard, and it
mhm.
seemed to me that before he had the heart attack, he was having some kind of issue, and he didn't seem like the same kind of guy that I remembered from before, and he looked all hunched over and stuff. But now, since he's gone to the hospital after he had this whatever it was that he had, which I guess was a heart attack, he
Yeah,
uh, he seems to be like really like re-energized. So
yeah,
I
maybe.
I don't
Yeah,
know that he's and again he's the same age as Trump. So but you're right about us needing young blood. I mean these guys,
yeah,
not Trump, but these guys that are in there for fucking 40 years, like Bernie Sanders. You know, I'm so glad that Bernie was there so that he could be discussing important things that no one else was saying. But what is it that he's accomplished besides just talking? You know, I mean,
well, he wrote the damn bill.
yeah, well, uh, so I that was pretty good. Um, I think that again he's one of these people that's been there, like you said, like Pelosi, these older people. I'm not saying older people. I'm saying the ones that have been there forever and accomplished nothing more than
Yeah,
bringing us to this horrible place where we are now, which could
yeah,
be worse, but it's not such good perspective on the future. Um, you know, he's one of those people, and we don't need those people around anymore. They've already done enough damage,
yeah,
right?
yeah. That's right. Like
Yeah.
at least give young people a chance to fuck things
Again,
up.
I don't think it's young people. I just think it's these people who've been there forever, Dwayne, who are the
Yeah,
gatekeepers who make nothing good happen. So I don't think it's because I think that it's I just don't think it's a young people thing. I mean, because you were talking about AOC a second ago, like she's so young and she's done nothing. I mean, I don't think that. Again, it's just we got to get these gatekeeper fucking people who are full of shit. Oh, all of a sudden Nancy Pelosi cares about her fucking oath to the Constitution. All the fucking sudden, I don't give a shit, and I don't believe it for a second.
shouldn't
So,
their first job seriously be their own district? And the fact that there's shit all over those streets, it's
well,
unreal.
should I wish that I wish that they cared about the oath that they took to the Constitution.
How can California just do that and treat people like that? The homeless people, and not do anything about it. Like, seriously, can't you find an old fucking building and make a homeless shelter in it?
Yeah,
Like of one of the thousands of factories that have been shut down?
a lot. I mean, I don't want to be completely stupid, but there's a percentage of people who simply don't want to be inside. So, and I know it's hard to
That's
believe.
true, but you know what? There's probably a large percentage of them that would want to be inside.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's people, there's families and stuff like that that should
Yeah,
not be on the street. You know,
that's right.
and people and every single one of them should have some kind of choice in a Christian society, whether they are on the street or not, because we don't need to just act like they're some kind of trash, that's going to be picked up eventually, you know. They're like Michael always says, they're my brothers and our sisters, and we don't want to. The last thing we want is them being on the street, 'Cause it makes it worse for everybody. You see homeless people on the street. Uh, you know. There's tent cities all over fucking Seattle, and it just makes it uncomfortable, and people hate it. I mean, they just despise it, and there's loads of trash, and it's just fucked up. So, it's we can do better. Like you're saying, there are places that we could be housing those people, but I do believe that there are some people that just don't want to be indoors and sitting on the couch watching TV. Dwayne.
Are those the people who have issues? They're probably the drug addicts.
Well,
And
there's all kinds of different people have all different kinds of issues, and a lot of them, yeah. They did a story on this guy the other day in Seattle that was sleeping like in just under this awning, and he gets up and goes to work every day, and I think he had like a government job or something, and it was really messed up, and it was and he's sleeping under the awning because he's an alcoholic. Because from the time he gets up until the time he goes to bed, he fucking drinks vodka. That's all there is to it.
See, like, that's too bad. Like, you can definitely feel for families who lose their house, and stuff like that. But they seem to be able to get themselves back up because there obviously is a social safety net. Like, I don't see how these homeless people can't just get welfare. That's what welfare should be for. And don't complain about money going to welfare because you don't want to work with half those people anyway.
Right. If they're having mental issues where they can't even fucking, do
That's what
basic
welfare
things,
should be for.
I mean, you got to help these people because if you don't help them, then they wind up under arrest and having to deal with police and in prison, and that's not good. I mean, they weren't doing anything except for they're not functional in society, so. Those people don't deserve to be in prison just because they're having a hard time, But that's where a lot of them wind up, and it sucks, man.
Yeah.
Like Rambo. That's what happened to Rambo. He was just walking down the street, and this fucking cop wouldn't leave it alone, man. You remember that
Michael
movie?
Knight? No. Well, years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
I don't remember it. I fried my brain since then,
Oh, well.
I hadn't watched it in a long time, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But, like, I can't wait to watch Ghostbusters and like, what a bad analogy. We saw he died. Like, she totally fucking ripped that off of Ghostbusters.
Who are you talking about?
Hitler.
Oh.
About Gaddafi. She totally ripped that out of Ghostbusters.
She's so evil.
Oh. Yeah, man. But you know what? I do see some light. I see a lot of darkness, but it seems like at least this impeachment charade is kind of shining light on some darkness in a way, even though it's all political. We're starting to see who some real rats are. Now we'll just have to turn it around and see who the rats are. And I think this Epstein thing, if we actually get the truth out of who was involved, we're going to find out some pretty fucked up people on both sides. And
I sure hope so. I
Shine
sure
a light
hope.
on that, man.
Right. I couldn't find. I mean, I couldn't hope for any like real serious major investigation to go on more than about Epstein, man. That would be fantastic because we need to know everybody who was involved with that guy and everything that happened because we know that what was going on was disgustingly illegal and it was going on in the upper crust, and that's the reason nobody wants to touch it, and that's the reason those people have to be held to a higher standard. We always talk about this person should be held to a higher standard. Fuck you. The people you hold to a higher standard are the poor people who just get screwed over, and all these people. Nancy Pelosi. No one is above the law. Bullshit. The Clintons are above the law. Obama's above the law. George W. Bush and Dick Cheney are certainly above the law, and it's disgusting that somehow, what George W. Bush did and Dick Cheney did is less of a crime than what they're saying Donald Trump has done. Because they did not ever fucking... And there was people who talked about, we need to impeach George Bush, but they never fucking acted like it was ever going to go anywhere for a second.
what Jerry Nadler did, the little nebbish from New York. He did that.
Yeah.
He
Well,
did that back in
there was good
2007.
reason to impeach George Bush, but they didn't go anywhere with it, and they didn't.
Yep.
And the reason that they don't, again, the reason that they don't hold these people accountable for their crimes is because they're culpable in them. They helped them make the crimes possible. So they should be held accountable just as much as George W. Bush and Barack Obama.
Oh man, you know what? Half those people would probably be in prison.
Yeah.
We actually, more than half the Congress, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
More than half.
Anybody who made a profit of fucking war in Iraq needs to go to prison immediately.
Well, especially if you had, holdings in what's that, Halliburton and all that shit.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. If you, and especially if you voted to keep the war going, keep the war going, keep the war going, and help spread the propaganda about why we have to keep this war, this completely based on lies, going until we kill at least 1 million fucking innocent Iraqis. You know?
Yeah, and you know what? All the CNN should be taken off the air.
Yeah, CNN, but Fox News
is war
Fox
crimes,
News
man.
was just as much hoorah about the war in Iraq as CNN ever was.
No, shock and awe, man. I watched that. That was fucking Wolf Blitzer all the way, man. Wolf Blitzer, 100%. Shock and awe. We got to watch live, sitting there with popcorn on our fat fucking asses in front of the TV, man, watching that.
Yeah,
it was all Wolf
my
Blitzer
birthday,
putting it on.
It was my
What's
birthday.
that?
It was my birthday.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was my.
Yeah, Fox News was worse. Doppel Cooper, you're full of shit. Every single person in the fucking world was watching Wolf Blitzer. Don't give me that shit.
Well,
everyone in the world was watching Wolf Blitzer.
You remember, Geraldo was embedded with the troops and all this shit, man. I mean, they're all the same when it comes to this, Wayne. You can't fucking act like one of them is more responsible than the rest of them because they're all ooh-rah. Go troops, go troops. And what they're doing when they say go troops, is they're fucking the troops over because the troops then get fucking broken and they come home and they fucking kill themselves. And nobody seems to give a shit about the fact that that's what's happening to the tune of 20 vets a day.
They train those guys to be soulless killers, man. There's a guy in our church who was an Army Ranger, okay? And he was responsible for taking out the guys that were putting up IUDs on the street.
Yeah.
And he didn't give a shit, man. He turned into a cold killer.
Well,
and one minute he would have to save the American troops, and next he was shooting a whole gang of guys for digging landmines and stuff and putting them under the roads. And it was some heavy combat. And he saw he killed hundreds.
Yeah. I know.
And you know what? It was his job.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until look. Honestly, it wasn't until Jesus changed his mind that he didn't give a fuck about anybody, man. And Jesus changed his mind, and now he's different.
Whatever works, Wayne. Whatever works, okay?
Because you can be trained to not care about any kind of soul. That's what I learned from this guy.
Right. Well, that's what I always say. That's why you give them a puppy. You give them a puppy, and then they fucking relearn to fucking care about whatever. About someone else,
Yeah. And actually, it took his own mom dying. He didn't give a shit about killing Iraqi soldiers. He didn't care about that.
Well, that's what he was supposed to do. He was doing his job.
Yep, and he did it. And he did it for 22 years, man.
Yeah.
2 tours in Iraq, 15 months each.
Yeah, that's hard, dude.
Oh yeah. And you know what? He's a totally changed man. And he's a brick shithouse, man. This guy's huge. Huge, exactly what you'd expect a warrior to be.
Yeah.
He's an Army Ranger.
Those Ranger guys are pretty fucking serious. You should probably, you probably should not talk about them being in your church and stuff. Those guys are pretty secretive about their identity,
Oh, he doesn't care.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Oh, that's good.
He's proud to tell the world Jesus changed him.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, he doesn't
that
care.
doesn't really matter. That doesn't really matter to the Iraqi descendants that he killed.
Well,
So all I'm saying is it's best not to, because my dad was always worried about that. That's partially the reason that I had a 357 under my pillow when I was 12 years old, is because my dad killed a lot of people too, and he was always worried that there was retribution coming his way. He wanted to be prepared for that.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Mike, it was great talking to you, man.
Yeah,
Sorry
Dwayne.
it went on for so long. You're such a great guy to talk to. You're informative, and you actually know how to have a back and forth conversation. I love it, man. You can talk. It's awesome. I love supporting your channel, Mike.
Hey,
Support
Dwayne.
everything you do.
I'm
Keep it
really
up.
glad that you're here. I mean, you know, every time I see you in the chat, it makes me feel stronger. So you know.
Yeah, for sure. I probably won't be here tomorrow night, but I'll be back on Monday. Don't worry.
Fucker. Yeah, enjoy your weekend, man. What are you doing? You got a party or something?
No, it's a holy weekend. You know, it's my time to worship Jesus.
Oh, good.
That's what
Enjoy.
my weekends are, man.
Enjoy.
And family time. So you know that's why I don't really that's why I don't want to be calling in on Friday nights anymore. It's the Sabbath, and I shouldn't be doing that on the Sabbath. And
Okay,
I should be
good,
worshiping
yeah.
Jesus instead, and instead of debating about war and Nancy Pelosi and all this other shit. That's for every other day during the week.
Yeah.
But have a great night, Mike, and it's great to speak with you. Bless you, Mike.
Hey.
Peace, love, and happiness. And you have a great evening, and take care, buddy.
Okay, tell Jane Mike says hi.
I will.
Okay, see ya.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for calling.
Yep.
And yeah, that's the thing. You know, we can have these nice conversations and see. And the person who was calling there, I didn't want to cut Dwayne off, so go ahead and call back. But yeah, we can have great conversations, and hopefully we'll be able to take this, you know, to another level. Let's see. Hello, caller.
Oh, Monsieur Marcy.
Hey, what's up? What's up?
This is French Pierre from Paris.
Oh man, are you in the protest right now?
The whole city, the whole country is insane, I tell you. Oh.
You Frenchmen have always been kind of insane.
Oh, ooh la la. Ooh la la. Yes, the general strike everywhere. I'm on the Eiffel Tower right now, talking to you. There's no reception anywhere. The trains are shut down. The women are beautiful. I cannot tell you. So much I cannot tell you.
Well, I'm just glad to see the people in the streets. You know, I'm always happy to see that.
Yeah, French people are very ooh la la. We're like savant, you know, savant, salade, gourmand. You still there?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I need to roll a joint, man.
Well, that does sound pretty good.
When you're insane.
That does sound pretty good. Marijuana.
How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I had a lovely day, and I'm still here, and I'm strong, and I'm about to make all kinds of new things happen any day now. I have a good video I could play if I could get Craig's attention for a minute.
Yeah, we're going to shoot some old ladies on live TV. Is that what's happening?
Yeah, we're going to shoot old ladies.
I didn't see it, so that'll be new for me.
Yeah.
I heard about it, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, no, it's and I wanted to show the video for actually a number of different reasons, so I'm hoping I can show it. We don't have to.
What city was it?
I don't know. It looked like Midwest. I think it may have been Texas, but it looked like Midwest. I don't remember what city it was.
No doubt, in somebody's house.
Yeah, it was in somebody's house.
Trying to make an arrest for minuscule.
Yeah, it seemed like a fucking like the guy was stealing alcohol from the liquor store or something.
Oh yeah, kill him. Kill his mom too. Kill them all.
Yeah. So I hopefully I'll be able to show you that video in a minute. So how about you? How's the trimming going?
Oh, I got maybe. If I work hard tonight, maybe I'll have it all bagged up. But,
Wow.
Yeah, I'll be done. Except I probably got 2 pounds of scrap hanging on all the trees. If I want to go get that, I suppose I can go get that. But if not, let the birds have them.
Throw it in the crock pot, man.
Yeah. So, yeah. Did I hurt your feelings last night talking about the the juice that I had that I drank. I drank 2 different kinds of juice last night. I had mango juice.
No, I want to talk about Nancy Pelosi and how much she loves the Constitution. Do you have anything to say about that?
They're all crooked, dude. I mean, it's a charade. Everybody up there is rich, anyways.
But I mean, literally, she says, well, we have to, we take an oath to protect the Constitution against all enemies, domestic and foreign. And it's like, now for this guy, I mean, there's been these fucking heinous crimes committed again and again around the world, and this guy is like looking for political dirt, and that's what the fucking is you're worried about the oh my god.
Bread and circuses. This is just a circus. That's all it is.
And it would be fine if she said, look, this guy has committed crimes, and we want to make sure that it doesn't continue. That would be fine. But for her to stand up there and say this shit about the Constitution and how nobody's above the law, when we know Hillary Clinton smashed all her fucking cell phones and her iPads after the FBI told her not to fucking dump any fucking emails.
Well, maybe people ought to be crawling up Nancy Pelosi's ass looking at that failed super train deal that her husband got rich off in California, because her husband made God knows how much money and nothing ever happened, and the whole deal got canceled, and Gavin Newsom and Jerry Brown, and what a mess, man. If you want to have a failed project, just get the government involved. They'll fuck everything up. If there's a way to fuck it up, they'll find it, and they'll do it. So, I mean, her husband, I don't know the details on that, but, something smells fishy in Denmark, and her husband definitely is a multi-millionaire, who made money off the failed California high-speed rail thing that never happened and cost God knows how much money for the California taxpayers. I really don't know what I guess we're running at a deficit here, and on the left coast, as Dwayne says, here on the left coast in California. But I don't know what the deficit is. It's like we got the 6th or 7th largest economy in the world, and therefore we can throw money around and lose it here and lose it there, and it's just a big scam. Nancy Pelosi doesn't give a fuck about the Constitution. She'd take away your guns in a heartbeat. They're all snakes, man.
Right.
If you go to Washington, it's just jackals and snakes. That's all it is. And they're not serving you. And, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, I was actually laying down listening to you guys talk. And then I got up and I got a cup of coffee in my hand. It's French roast. And
is that what made you talk French?
Yeah, that must be it, man. So, I mean, it's Alexandria Cortez, AOC. I don't know why people use 3 names. Why don't you just call yourself Alex Cortez? That'd be so much fucking easier. It's the Ocasio that hangs me up. But she doesn't seem like that bad of a chick, I don't care if she's kind of good looking and bouncy, but she's certainly not geopolitically savvy in any way.
Yeah.
And I don't think she has a very high IQ, but I like her, just because she's jumping on the bandwagon. This is where me and Dwayne can agree on the green liberal agenda, she's trying to make headway. She doesn't know what to do. She doesn't have a plan for the Green New Deal. I guess she does. Maybe it's just me that's not paying attention to it. But I know she's talking about some kind of Green New Deal, but is it fiscally, feasible? I don't know. She was a waitress, and now she's a congresswoman, and people don't like her. People don't like Ilhan Omar, but I think Ilhan Omar is a brave Muslim woman who talks talks about different kinds of juice too much. Maybe she likes mango juice, or maybe she likes orange juice. I mean, everybody likes orange juice.
She talks
Trump
about
is an-
Israel, and you know that's what the problem is. Again, Israel. Guys keep wanting to change it into fucking orange juice and fucking pog. It's not. It's fucking Israel. Okay?
Oh, you cracking me up, Mike. Okay, so anyways, what does Trump call those guys? The three amigos, or
Yeah.
yeah. It's like there's nothing wrong with those people. They're just a little loopy at worst. At worst, you know.
Look, I'm pretty sure that Ocasio has said these things that matter. You know, she's like pushing some buttons that should be pushed, and you know that a lot of the people that she's trying to appeal to, the Green New Deal sounds like something that offers a bright new future. You know, because I don't know. I see a lot of this young people that are coming up, and it seems like they don't think that there's much of a future, you know, if any. And
yeah, but they're excluding Elon Omar, who is probably very educated, and she's I don't know what district she's representing. Maybe is she by chance a Michigan congresswoman?
I thought she's from New York.
New York, okay, because Michigan has the highest concentration of Palestinians.
Oh no, Ilhan Omar. Oh, Ilhan Omar is from either Michigan or Minnesota. Let me see.
Are you looking it up?
Yeah.
I'm on a 20-second delay.
Yeah, she's Minnesota.
Okay, Jesse Ventura's country. So, yeah, I mean, I think Elon Omar's smarter than Alex Cortez, but, you know, most of the people that follow that Green New Deal aren't much smarter than them. You know, it's like anybody who thinks that giving money to the United Nations is going to change the weather or fix the weather needs to have their head examined. And giving money to a tax scam to the United Nations is just going to make your country poor and
more than that is once you start giving money. It's like with a stripper, right? It's okay to date a stripper, but you can't give them money. Once you start giving them money, then it's all over because they're not. You know, it's no longer. It just doesn't work. So
like feeding a stray dog.
Yeah. So once you start giving it to them, you're always going to be giving it to them, and they're just going to look for more and more and more. So that's the problem with taxes in general, man. We just have to, what they're doing with our taxes is nothing that anybody wants. It's not making the world better for anyone. What's that?
We got indoctrinated into it as children, and our parents, I don't know about your dad, but, my dad made sure I had a Social Security number, and, I obeyed the rules, and I, just do what the government says, and, when I told him, if I was old enough to get drafted for the Vietnam War, that I would go to Canada, he flipped his fucking lid. Like, you would betray your own government. It's like, fuck yeah, in a heartbeat. Even as a dumb teenager, I'd betray my own government. So, there were no taxes before 1913. What was it? 1913 was the Federal Reserve, and then 1916, I think, was the income tax law. So there were no taxes. And the U.S. government, I'm in favor, if you're going to have taxes, just have a sales tax, a flat sales tax. And then you would generate more money, and people would have to find out new ways how to cheat on their taxes, just like the black market would probably open up, and then you'd have the Federal Reserve, or the Federal Income Tax Police, are these taxable goods, and so, I mean, however many laws they write, everybody's going to find new ways to get around them, and nobody wants to pay taxes. Anybody that isn't cheating on their taxes is a fucking dummy.
Well,
As far as-
again, what they do with our tax money is fuck us. You know what I mean? Why would we? They're not doing anything beneficial for anybody with our tax money. No matter how much money Seattle throws at the homeless fucking problem, nothing good seems to come from all that money that gets spent. And they just want more, 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 more. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be helping the homeless, but it doesn't seem to be helping the homeless. That's the fucking problem, you know?
Inefficiency in government in all quarters. That's one of the problems. But a deeper, more psychological problem in all throughout America is that we're in voluntary slavehood. We volunteer by our apathy and lack of cojones to be slaves. It's like, oh, you have to pay a permit to go fishing. How come I have to pay a permit to go fishing? You have to have a permit to paint your house. You have to have a permit to do landscaping. You have to have a permit to do this, permit to do that. You got to pay your taxes. You have to pay your taxes. Or property taxes is another one. I thought I owned my fucking house. Why am I paying the government to own my fucking house? Well, it's for the roads. It's for the schools. No, it's for some fat cat motherfucker sitting up there, county board of supervisors, so he can get a $300,000 salary and free lunches. You know, we don't have to acquiesce to every so-called demand put on us by government. And I'm a pirate. You know, some people call themselves anarchists. Personally, I think anarchists are pussies. I'm a fucking pirate. You know, I take what I want. As long as I'm still a moral man, then fuck you. You know, and if,
Anarchists are pussies, and that's a good thing.
Well, they're better than the rest of the crowd, but nowadays you got ANCAPs and this and that, and it's all just a club. I'm a Republican. It's like, what the fuck is that? You know, ANCAP is an anarcho-capitalist, and then you got anarcho down in Mexico. That guy Jeff Berwick's got that anarcho-poloco or something like that down in Acapulco, you know, so it's like, I'm not joining your fucking club. And right now, Michael Tsarian and, what's his name, the number one anarchist teacher in the United States right now is, what's his fucking name, Mark Passio, whom I like. I like Mark Passio, and I like Michael Tsarian, but they're kind of, I don't know if you know who they are, but they're kind of at war with the, or at least Michael Tsarian is coming down hard on Mark Passio right now. And, you know, Mark Passio calls himself an anarchist, and Michael Tsarian is just a straight-up Irishman who teaches a dozen different areas of subjects, you know. So, but, no, you know, anarchism now has turned into a fashion statement, like, you know, I got my bell bottoms rolled up 6 inches, therefore I'm fill in the blank, you know.
Well, that's a hipster thing. But the you know, the pirates, like you were saying earlier, if there was a party in that I would identify with in the world, it would be the pirate party, and I'm surrounded by pirates. I mean, we get everything, everything. You know,
and you look like a pirate.
Yeah.
So, hey,
well, I don't know about that, but I'm surrounded by pirates. And
man, you know, the word pirate implies personal sovereignty, and I think that applies to you. You have personal sovereignty. You don't let nobody tell you what to do, pretty much. You know how to work the system like a pirate does, you know. You got to stay away from the English Navy. You got to know the winds and the ports and the seas and where the reefs are, you know. So, and you got to be responsible. You got to make sure your guns are loaded. And, you know, that's what a pirate does. And hoy, hoy, hoist the mainsail, matey, and all that shit. Personal sovereignty. You got to know how to operate your life on the street of the United States with all these rules and laws and regulations. And it's like, fuck the rules and the laws and the regulations. I mean, if you can break a rule, pat yourself on respect for it if you don't get caught. You know, it's like, because rules are literally made to be broken in the land of lies. It's all lies, you know.
Well, there's not supposed to be that when people are over criminalized, when there's too many rules, that it makes it almost impossible for the normal person to just go about their normal life without breaking dozens of rules on a daily basis. Because I understand that the average American breaks like 17 felonies a day, you know? So,
Yeah, and the little kids with their lemonade stands are breaking another law, and they're only 10 years old.
and it's just, so the whole process is, the whole society has been over criminalized, and these people in Congress don't seem to get it. Every year they make like 47,000 new laws, every year.
Right.
So I mean, how many laws do we fucking need? I mean, so and if they were protecting the fucking water, if it was laws like, well, we can't have fracking because it's going to destroy all the fucking drinking water, then that seems like that would be a good law. But no, we don't make laws like that.
Well, yeah, there's too many fucking laws, and just break all the fucking laws and take care of your brothers and sisters. But I'm looking at my computer screen right now, and I for some reason I saved this during the day. It's Public Law 105-85. It was passed during the Obama administration. It allows chemtrails and biological weapons testing on civilians without explicit consent, and there is 4 exceptions. This is the law that allows them to use chemical weapons during riots and stuff like that. That would be any purpose that is directly related to protection against toxic chemicals or biological weapons and agents. Oh, any law enforcement purpose, including any purpose related to riot control. So they can use chemical weapons on us to control us during riots. And yeah,
which is something they're not allowed to do in Iraq or Afghanistan, because then it would
so
be,
they say, but we do it all the time. They break their own rules, man.
Yeah.
They break their own rules, and they're the government.
But apparently,
so
it's legal for them to do it here.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's, So yeah. I mean, fuck the law. Jesus Christ. Tacitus, I told you this before, Tacitus, the Roman philosopher, or I think he was a member of the Roman Senate, he said, the more numerous the laws, the more corrupt the state. And that was 2,500 years ago, or at least 2,000 years ago. I don't know what year exactly, but that was 2,000 years ago. And here we are, we got more laws than any country in the history of planet Earth ever. And so, according to that statement, which I seem to agree with, it seems pretty logical, seems pretty self-evident that the more laws in your country, the more corrupt your country is. If your kid can't go out and sell lemonade for 50 cents without getting arrested or ticketed.
Well, let's put it this way: without the government or the city or the police getting some kind of a kickback to make it okay for them to do that, for your kid to sell lemonade on the fucking sidewalk. Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. On your taxes, how do you write off stuff that you bought for business purposes at a yard sale? You got to get a receipt, right? Or, they can't cover everything with laws, but that's the fiction of all of it, is that they think that if we missed a little piece here, like no shoes, you have to wear shoes in a public park, then they'll pass a law to cover that. And of course, by passing that law, they'll create another problem, And the cops are basically high school football players that have a lower IQ than the average population, so they don't know the laws. I've seen a million videos of citizens teaching the police the laws, and the cops don't want to accept it. So you got to carry those laws around with you in your pocket to show the cop, and they'll still give you a hard time.
Yeah.
So it's like people think the law is the law, but actually, in a real world where your conscience is the law. Your conscience is a higher law than any law that any cop can say is real. So here we are living in fake America with fake politicians, and we're self-regulating. The entire population is so dumbed down and sheep-like, and what do you call it when you we're so domesticated that we enforce these fake laws on each other. I was in Vaughn's yesterday, and they, that's where I
Vaughn's
buy.
is a grocery store, right?
Yeah, Vaughn's is a grocery store. That's a part of the Safeway chain.
Right.
So I'm buying my canned espresso with cream, right? And they come in a 4-pack. And all the 4-packs are gone, but the diet 4-packs are there with less cream in them. But I like the stuff that has full cream, right? Because I'm a fucking Italian. So, but they have singles of the full cream espressos. So what do? I open up the 4-pack is like $6, and the singles are almost $3.
Ooh.
So I'm not going to pay $3. They got singles of the ones I like. I open the package, and I take out the lightweight ones, the diet ones, and I put the full cream in the 4-pack. And there's this guy standing next to me. He couldn't be more than 30 years old. And he's watching me for a minute, or more than a minute, doing this. And you know how when somebody's just staring at you, 2 feet away from you, you start getting a little weird, you know?
Yeah.
And I look at the guy and I say, "Why are you staring at me?" And he said, "Well, I didn't know that you were allowed to do that." And I said, "Allowed?" And I fucking put it in my basket and I walked away. It's like, I'm not going to school this guy on what's allowed and what's not allowed, but he's sitting there trying to virtue signal me in a store, and all I'm doing is repackaging singles into a package of a 4-pack so I can save a couple bucks. And it's like, I'm not going to explain to you, you dumb motherfucker, what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. And you shouldn't be staring at me because if you were really just mouthy and not just stupid, I'd just punch you. Cameras, no cameras, I don't give a fuck. Don't fucking virtue signal me when you are a sheep.
Well,
you're a domesticated animal.
Don't step up and, try and fucking corral me, because that's a very dangerous thing to do.
He's 2 feet from me, and it took me a good 60, 70 seconds to repackage this shit. And it's like, he's just staring at me as if I'm like some criminal or something, It's like, so we are a self-policing population. And people will do that to you wherever you go. I've heard you tell a couple stories like that, too. And everybody listening knows that you can just be doing some normal shit, and somebody's going to try to tell you you're doing something wrong, It's like, that's not what I'm about. You're not going to catch me virtue signaling anybody unless they're beating a child, and that's about it, I mean, do what you want.
I have a problem a lot with verbal abuse of kids too, but it's you gotta like not be too sensitive about it, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, it's just that he was totally rude.
Yeah. Oh no, I mean that's what can I help you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like because you see it, you see this right here. This is my fucking personal space, and it's really dangerous for you to be inside that little fucking space. Okay?
I mean, literally, that's an example of a domesticated animal, a 30-year-old kid, who's within the proximity of a wild and free animal, and he's trying to tell that wild and free animal that, hey, you're supposed to be like me. You're supposed to be domesticated. You're supposed to obey the rules.
Right.
You know.
We don't color outside the lines. Why are you coloring outside the lines?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're round peg. It doesn't fit into my square hole, man.
I'm sorry. I don't even see the lines. I'm not sure what lines you're talking about, but I don't see them. So.
But that's all I said to the guy is I just put the shit in my basket. I saved myself like at least $6, and I didn't break any laws because they had singles there. They just didn't have 4-packs of what I wanted.
No, it sounds like you got half price, for exactly. We got the actual correct price instead of having to pay double.
Right, yeah.
So who wouldn't do something like that?
A guy like that, a domesticated American animal, a 30-year-old kid.
Yeah.
You got to remember, I'm in a fucking New Age city.
Yeah,
so
right.
that was probably a New Age kid.
Right.
Pretending that he's virtuous. Maybe he read a book on Buddha one time. Oh la la! And, maybe he thought he was some fucking enlightened being. Why, you're going to ruin the karma of planet Earth if you repackage your espresso like that, man. It's like,
whatever. I mean, just don't get in my space and be really, because it's dangerous. Just don't step up and start judging on me, okay? I'm just taking care of business. Step away. Just, I stand up and look them eye to eye and just say, just walk away, okay? You don't know what the fuck you're messing with. Just walk away, because I don't want to have a problem. Get the fuck away from me, dude. You're crowding me, boy.
Yeah, I mean, I understand I look younger than I actually am. I'm more than twice that guy's age, but fucking dude, I don't take shit off fucking children,
or anybody.
And you don't work here at the store. You don't know what I'm doing, and you're trying to enforce your false morality onto me. And that's what it is. It's false morality.
That's what we were talking about before, about how people judge other people and they want to and whatever. They judge them as if they're superior because they have these inferiority complexes, and they have to keep reassuring themselves that they're better than all the people around them, so that this, I'm not good enough for daddy or whatever inferiority complex doesn't fucking take over their brain,
Well, I'm sure most people will possibly disagree with me, but if you allow someone to step on your life or step on some part of your day or offend you in some kind of violate you in some way, and you don't stand up for yourself, that's actually in many situations false morality.
Well, at the same time, you don't want a lot of people, like, I don't want trouble. You know what I mean? Again, like I said with the dog, I tell people the dog's a therapy dog, and he helps me put everything in perspective. And it's like, if I was to kill all these people, that would be bad for Rufus, so I don't kill all these people. It's like, I don't want trouble. I walk away every chance I get. I don't.
Oh, me too.
I don't instigate. I don't have any interest in any trouble. So I'm not like trying to act like somehow I'm getting in people's faces and say, get the fuck away from me. Although I won't hesitate to do that either, but that's not the, if there's an option just to mostly what I'll do if someone questions me on stuff like that is I'll look at them and I'll laugh out loud, just and then turn my back and walk away.
Yeah, well, I'm not walking around with a very big chip on my shoulder 24/7.
Yeah.
And so what? Some little fucking New Age kid who thought he was a man, pretending to be a man, got within 2 feet of me and just stared at me for an excessively long period of time. He didn't even turn his head away; he just kept staring and staring and staring. And that's no big deal. I mean, I did the same thing that you said you do. I said, aloud, and I walked away.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not a domesticated animal,
right.
And I would recommend everybody become undomesticated if possible. I'm not saying drive on the wrong side of the road right in front of the police. I'm not saying shit like that. I'm saying if the law doesn't suit the success or the sanity of your life, break it.
Yeah, well,
if it's not a just law.
Yeah, see, it's like this thing where I'm an adult, okay, and I can decide what goes into my body without the government telling me that it's illegal for me to put this in my body, okay? For fucking since I was 15 years old, apparently, this government's been at war because I chose as a sentient adult to decide what it is that's okay to put in my body, to make the safest choice, as opposed to so many other dangerous options, and for that reason, this government has literally been at war with me, and it did them absolutely no good. It never stopped me from making the choice that I wanted to make. So fuck them, fuck their laws. I don't need them to tell me when it's safe to cross the street. Okay, I'm very fucking aware of when it's safe to cross the street and when it's not, and I will only do it, when I know it's safe, because I've been hit by cars. I don't want to get hit by cars. So, and I have dogs with me, and I'm really protective of the dogs. So I'm very aware, and and that's just the basic thing. I don't need them to tell me when it's safe to cross the street, So, and they expand on that 1,000 times to tell you everything you can and can't do, and and we're adults. We're the top of the food chain. We're the big brain top of the food chain. We're supposed to be the smartest beings on the planet, and for whatever reason, this government wants to fucking babysit us oh, well, if we let them do what they want, they'll hurt themselves.
The inverse of being a sovereign person and willfully breaking minor laws to suit the benefit of your own self and your own life is if by some chance a cop is pointing his gun at you, just do what the fuck he says, because that guy will shoot you.
Well, yeah, you don't mess with cops, because this is a police state, and we've all seen the cops shoot again and again and again, and shoot the wrong people, and shoot innocent people, and shoot people for nothing. For nothing. Yeah. You don't have to make an aggressive move on them. You can be walking away, and they'll fucking shoot you in the back. We've seen it happen again and again.
And then they'll plant a fucking gun on you.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, if you think you're living in like this a fair and just world, you better grow up quick. This is not a fair world. It's not a just world. We make our own justice.
It's a police state. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fucked up. It was never like this in the 70s, and I kind of watched it get worse in the 80s. But I slapped a couple things on your Facebook page. One of them is, it looks like it's Fox News, where the sheriff, Grady Judd, whoever the fuck he is talking about marijuana is killing people every day across the U.S. So you might want to look at that.
Yeah.
And I've noticed, I saw an article today, and I slapped a related article up on your Facebook page. I've noticed for years now that lots of the animals, both in the wild and domesticated, are getting cancers. And that's a pretty good indication that we humans are living in a toxic environment, Yeah. And that article, it was some kind of Facebook live stream. She said, she was reading the statistics. She says almost 1 out of every 2 dogs is going to get cancer, and dogs have a higher cancer rate than any other mammals on Earth.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's what I talk about, the epidemic of dog cancer all the time.
Oh, do you? I've never heard you talk about that.
No, I bring it up all the time, I'm not sure if it has something to do with the food or the fact that their noses are on the ground and sniffing the ground all the time,
Yeah, I think it's both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're very careful about what food these dogs get. Only pizza and steak and waffles and good shit like that.
Yeah, I had two cats die from cancer. They both lived till over 18 years old, and I haven't had any pets since then. But that's one of the ways you know you're living in a toxic environment is if the wild animals are dying from cancers due to pollution usually, and the domestic animals are dying from cancer. So yeah, that's a pretty scary circumstance, and I don't think it should be ignored. But yeah, I slapped up that marijuana thing and that thing on doggy cancer up on your YouTube page. But so, and I'm looking at it on the same page. I'm looking at it says cop responds to unarmed mentally ill man's crisis by shooting his mother. So that must be what you're about to show, right?
That was what I'm trying to show. If I can get Craig's attention, I don't know how to load it into this. I don't know how to load it into this application. So
yeah, and so in France they got general strike. All the trains are shut down. The Eiffel Tower is shut down. The people are out in the streets and they're getting beat up by cops. Even the old people because they're cutting off their pensions and shit. And I knew when Macron got in there, macaroni.
Yeah.
I knew he was gonna just fuck with everybody because he's basically, I mean, he really is a Rothschild banker.
Yeah, he's a weaselly little fucking Napoleonic piece of shit, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he could play a good, really good Napoleon if he was a movie actor. You know.
I think so too. I think so too.
Yeah, he would make a good Napoleon. Matter of fact, somebody ought to like kidnap him and force him at gunpoint to play Napoleon. You know.
Or just start making posters of him that way.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Because one of the best weapons we have is humor.
Yeah.
So I use humor a lot in my music, and all the graphic artists and all the meme designers and all that. They use humor I mean, we're at the pinnacle of humor. Never in the history of humankind has humor been so advanced and multifaceted as it is right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, life is beautiful. I feel really good, probably because
I like to use humor in a lot of my titles and my videos too. I remember like one of my favorite titles of all time was Queen Elizabeth in Ireland, right? And she was meeting one of these IRA guys, right? One of the leaders of the IRA, and the title of my video was Gorillas in Ireland with a big question mark, because like it's a Monty Python line, which was like right IRA gorillas, you know what I mean? Gorillas in Ireland. Monty Python was like a tiger in Africa. I don't know if you remember that movie.
Which movie was it?
It was I don't know. That must have been. It wasn't Meaning of Life. Which movie was that?
Life of Brian?
I don't think it was Life of Brian, because Life of Brian was all about a parody of Jesus. It was all in ancient. This was, I don't know which movie that was. That's great. I'll find out. Just a minute. Oh, I'm fucking stuck on the chair. All right.
I do know that Life of Brian never would have got made. They ran out of funding, and then George Harrison threw down a bunch of cash to fund that Monty Python movie, Life of Brian. That's a little detail nobody knows, that George Harrison...
I went to see that movie... Oh, it was Meaning of Life. It was Meaning of Life. I went to see that movie when it was in the theater, and there was protesters outside with signs, a lot of them, marching up and down out in front of the theater because it was a parody of Christ's life, and they didn't like that. Beautiful, right? Fucking beautiful, man.
Was Dwayne there?
It's a great movie, Dwayne. If you haven't seen that one, man, it is so good.
In the Philippines every year, I think it's around Easter time, they got giant parades of really really strict Catholics that march down the streets with crucifixes on their backs, and then they get crucified, each one of them crucified, and that's their Filipino ritual. Is they walk down the streets with giant crucifixes like Christ, and then they.
I think there's other places where they do that too.
Yeah, isn't that ridiculous? It's like, holy shit.
I've never understood how, something that's supposed to be about love, a religion that's supposed to be about love, can take like the most heinous form of execution and use that as their religious symbol. I don't get that.
Well, I don't recommend that people take the sins of other people on their back and crucify themselves. That will fuck up your life quite a bit. I know I've done it, so don't do it, boys and girls. It's not really love. It's more like stupidity if you take the sins of someone else on your back. So fuck that. And the Muslims believe that somebody else was crucified in Jesus' place. And that he didn't really die, and then the Jews say that he was never really crucified also, and Jesus' great uncle was Joseph of Arimathea, who was a consul of Rome.
Well, I was just watching the Life of Brian a couple days ago. And when they're all marching to go get crucified with the crosses, Brian is marching, and they're all marching with the crosses to go get crucified by the Romans. Like, one of the guys starts to stumble with the cross, and another person standing on the side of the street tries to help him up and help him carry the cross, and the guy runs away, and the guy winds up getting crucified in his place.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, Monty Python was way ahead of its time, and I wish they would have made 3 or 4 more movies, because they definitely had it in them. I don't know their history or why they broke up. They used to have a weekly television show every Tuesday night, I think, and I used to watch it.
Yeah.
And it was pretty fucking groovy, man. It was,
Monty Python's Flying Circus.
Right, yeah. And we used to just get stoned and watch it and laugh.
And they had topless chicks on there every once in a while.
Yeah, they had a bunch of floozies. And who was that other guy? Benny Hill was pretty good too. He was
Benny Hill he was pretty funny from time to time. I really liked his innuendo was amazing.
Yeah, and he bounced the boobies around quite a bit more than Monty Python did.
Yeah.
With his English sexism, but no, man, that's all good. I mean, the more comedy, the better. There's so much. The good thing about living right now in these times is there's so much funny shit going on. There's no end to the amount of comedy you can create from this reality we're living in. Like this, Saturday Night Live is pretty good for creating parodies of real life situations in real time. Like, I don't watch it, but if they haven't come out with a impeachment thing by now, they're really missing the boat. They should have an impeachment thing by now, because it's a joke. All of it, the whole thing is a joke.
Well, no, this is about the 2020 election and trying to get the Senate back, I think, like I said from the beginning. So,
Like the other day when Trudeau and Boris Johnson and somebody else was standing around talking shit about Trump.
Macron.
Not Macron, right? Yeah, Macron. They could make a real, by just looping that over and over and then adding subtitles,
yeah.
You could make a beautiful comedy sketch out of it. Yeah, well, I heard his dick was only 1.5 inches anyways. There's no end to the comedy we can make of this charade we call government.
Well, yeah, because you got to make fun of it, because otherwise it's just so disgusting, and it just makes you angry until you pull your hair out, man.
Yeah, it's weird, because one day I'm angry and the next day I'm kind of elated and satirical, and I don't know if I'm insane, or this is normal. I really don't care either way.
We're all mad here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll let you go, Michael. You're going to show that clip soon, yeah?
Craig sounds like he's on the phone or something. I don't know. I don't seem to be able to get his attention. So I'm going to have to wait till tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you want to talk about anything else?
No, somebody else was asking if they could call, so...
Okay, I'll let you go.
Okay, Michael. Thanks for calling.
Ooh la la!
Bye. Hey, Craig, are you available for some help? I have a clip I want to play. Hello, caller.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, who's this?
My name's Cecil. I've called before a couple of times in the past.
Okay.
Well, hey, anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that some of your other callers were talking about, and Pelosi too.
Okay.
I mean, Pelosi has had moments where she honestly looks like she has dementia.
You know what? The thing is when you like base your reality on lies, it makes it very difficult to keep track of the lies. And I think that actually people who lie on a consistent basis might actually force early dementia on themselves because they lie so much that they can no longer negotiate what the truth is.
They like put themselves in their own little like pocket reality. It's nothing but lies, and they get to a point where they can't differentiate between that and reality.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Damn, dude. Yeah, I've never really liked her. I thought she was from California or something like that.
Yeah, she's from the Bay Area in California. The problem is with these people, it's like Dwayne was saying, we got to get rid of the old people, but I don't think that's it. We got to get rid of the people that have been there forever, because they're the problem. They're the ones who continuously make they're the gatekeepers. They're the ones who brought us to where we are right now. And then, the people who've been there forever, and then they're the ones who kind of keep anything from moving forward into like a 21st century reality,
You know what that reminds me of, man? I have this like dictionary of theory, right? And one of the theories in it is called the iron law of oligarchy, right?
Uh-huh.
So what the iron law of oligarchy says is that your most permanent governmental assets will always gravitate towards the top and towards the power. So, for example, we have a president for a maximum of 8 terms, or 8 years, right?
Yeah.
How long do these generals stay in office? How long does Congress keep? How long does Senators, and all these other people that stay in the government for like 20 years plus? And basically, that's what you're saying right now. Is like all these people that cling to this governmental power and stay there for a long time. Some of them are old, some of them aren't. So they're basically just oligarchs, right?
Wait a second. I'm trying to look at something. Hold on just a sec here. Let's see it. Motherfucker. Oh man. Hold on just a sec, Craig.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that that's what they are, is oligarchs. If you look on my Vegas on that other room, it's up. It'll say where if you just go or render it'll say where the file went to. I don't know why it didn't go to there. It's supposed to go there. Okay.
So hey, man, we were talking about you were talking about abolishing the parties and stuff, right?
Yeah, I think that I think the founding fathers warned against there being political parties because they see this division, and it's just not a necessary thing. I don't think that we need political parties for people to be represented.
What I was going to say about that, I totally agree. and it just breeds corruption. At this point, I think a lot of people are losing faith
Yeah.
in in the parties anyway. But I've heard, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard that Australia actually has like a preferential voting system. So, for example, a huge criticism of our system is there's only two parties to choose from, right? Well, what Australia will do is they'll give you 5 candidates, and then you like, okay, I want this person to be number 1. They get 50 points. I want this person to be number 2. They get 25 points. And descending. So then at the end of the election, they total up everybody who has the most points, and the person who has the most points wins.
Right.
Does that make sense to you?
I think so too. I think they have like mandatory voting in Australia. Isn't that correct?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're required. Everyone's required to vote in Australia, and I like that idea. So you're talking about like multiple elections, or
No, it's one election, but you have multiple candidates. You have like 5 or 8 or whatever.
Yeah,
right.
I absolutely think that that's the way it should be always. Like on the debate stage, there should always be, instead of just 2 parties represented, there should be at least 5, like you're saying.
And then you can just rank them as, okay, this person I like the most, this person I don't like the most, and they still get points. Because the person you don't like the most gets like 2 points, and the person you like the most gets like 6. And then whoever has the most points wins.
I think that's a really interesting approach. There's no doubt. I mean, it'd be different. I just think that, like you're saying, the party system is so corrupt at this point. That it doesn't represent any of us, and that we have to, in order. And the only way we're going to get a better choice than giant douche or turd sandwich is that if we eliminate the parties entirely, and then it'll be, there won't be just these 2 people that we have to choose from anymore.
Right. I'll tell you what, man. A lot of people during the last election were like, I don't really like Trump, but he's better than Hillary.
Right. Exactly. They hate Hillary and they don't like Trump. So, and that was the thing. I mean, how can Trump and Hillary be the best choices that we have for the most powerful position in the world, right? I mean, neither one of these people are respectful, are the slightest bit respectable. They're both scum, and we wind up. So I don't know. The world's come. Our government's come to this really shitty place where the best choices Americans can put forward for the most powerful position in the world is Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, and that's a load of garbage. Our system could not be more broken, obviously.
I mean, it's like some of these young kids start talking about politics, and I'm like, you don't even understand how much of a little, like, politics is just like a little dance that they do in front of us to make us think that our voice actually matters. It's really not. They should make electronic voting machines illegal. Illegal.
Yeah, I think that they should come up with some kind of, I don't want to say mandatory, but I think that they should make it easier for people to vote. Like, I think honestly, like in Washington State, everybody votes by mail. Or, not Washington, Oregon, I think. Everybody votes by mail. And that's the way it should be. Just no fucking electronic voting. Everybody gets a ballot to their fucking mailbox, and they fucking fill it out, and they send it back in. And then you have, like, a nice fucking paper trail.
I mean, that seems cool, but I'm kind of like the guy of, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
But it is broke.
Be like, right. But what I'm saying is that the system originally wasn't broken. Paper ballots in a box, people standing there counting, watching. There was never any voter fraud.
Well,
there was, it was so minuscule, nobody cared.
But I think we get like twice as much participation if we did it by mail. Because people don't have to fucking take the day off or take some time off or go wait in line for an hour. You know what I mean? It's right there, and they can, and part of what the problem is that we don't have big enough participation, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Because so many people are just jaded and disillusioned out of the system. They're like, my voice doesn't matter. You know, it's like, it should be mandatory voting, and they should just be like, look, you're not going to be allowed to go to work. We're turning the freaking football off until you go down and vote. It probably fits a lot. But I agree that there's not enough participation, but obviously we're going to have like differences of opinions about how you solve that problem.
Well,
mainly,
again, I think that's I wish that we could have people voting on their phones, but again, then you have no paper trail. But if you do it this way, like I'm saying, everybody gets a fucking ballot right to their door, so, and how much easier could it be? And then you fucking stick a stamp on it and you send it back, and there's a fucking massive paper trail. So, it makes a lot of sense to me. In the corner's fine. Thank you.
And then, do you ever have people like on your show, like sit there with you and talk to you?
We're working on it. The show is new. We're just kind of establishing that we're going to be here, every day, Monday through Friday. There probably will be guests coming on. We're trying to work out the Skype thing, and we're trying to figure out, what else we can do to actually have people in, like a video feed with me. But it's possible that we will be having actual guests in the studio too in the future.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, like, I live in Seattle.
Right on.
I mean, I'd be down to come like do a bong with you and freaking talk about politics or something.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can hit us up. You can hit me up at mike@moxnews.com if you want to send. Yeah. Yeah, if you want to send an email, mike@moxnews is easy to get in touch that way.
Yeah, man, I like a lot of your videos, especially in the past. I've used a lot of your, like, police corruption videos to, like, kind of let people on how, like, corrupt police can be. Dude, I'm from California. I can talk for hours about how corrupt cops can be.
No, I hear
and
you.
Like,
I hear you. And Craig is working on that video, guys. So if you want to see, if Michael's still here, you want to see that video, if you haven't already gone to look for it, hopefully we'll have here in a second of that cop shooting the guy's mom. His cop tried to shoot this guy, and he wound up shooting the guy's mom instead. Very sad video. But I think it's important to see for a number of different reasons, and that's why we're going to play it here in a second, hopefully, or else we'll play it tomorrow, one or the other. Where are you about in Seattle?
well, I actually used to live right up the street from you. I used to live, like, right up in the UW, just on the Wallingford side of the I-5 there.
Oh.
Now I live about 15 miles south of Seattle.
Oh, right on. Well, we're just a little north of Seattle. I love Seattle, man. Did you say you got it going, or what do you say? Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Go ahead.
We turn next tonight to that disturbing video of a woman deputy tackled trying to arrest a suspect. She opens fire to get the suspect off her, accidentally hitting his mother. Here's ABC's Steve Osunsami.
Don't walk away from me.
The police body camera video that South Carolina authorities are releasing tonight is disturbing. According to the arrest warrant, the Greenville County police officer wearing the camera October 20th is Deputy Ashley Cure. You cannot touch me! The man she's seen here trying to arrest is 40-year-old Sean Kaiser, who police say was drunk, was already a suspect in a shoplifting case, and had tried to run off with his mother's purse to go buy more beer. His mother, who's blurred in the video, is seen trying to help.
Let go of me!
I am stronger than you.
Let go of me!
I can do whatever
Let go of me!
But her son overpowers the deputy, and when the deputy breaks free, she gets up and fires, but misses the son and accidentally shoots the mother, who stumbles into a chair. The son is still coming at her. She shoots again and misses. Backup arrives and he's arrested. The son was charged. The deputy was hospitalized with a concussion and is back on the force tonight. The mother is still hospitalized more than a month after the incident. David?
Steve, thank you. When we come back.
With the microphone. We'll run the video one more time.
Go on the microphone then.
Alright, well, so people know you're still there.
Yeah, I know. Run the video, but don't unmute the microphone. I mean,
I don't know why that video's not set up. I'm gonna turn my transmission mode off and see what's going on.
where are you going? Don't click on that stuff.
Turn off studio mode. Run the clip one more time for people in case anybody didn't hear the audio.
We turn next tonight to that disturbing video of a woman deputy tackled trying to arrest a suspect. She opens fire to get the suspect off her, accidentally hitting his mother. Here's ABC's Steve Osunsami.
Don't walk away from me.
Don't grab me.
The police body camera video that South Carolina authorities are releasing tonight is disturbing. According to the arrest warrant, the Greenville County police officer wearing the camera October 20th is Deputy Ashley Cure.
You cannot touch me.
The man she's seen here trying to arrest is 40-year-old Sean Kaiser, who police say was drunk, was already a suspect in a shoplifting case, and had tried to run off with his mother's purse to go buy more beer. His mother, who's blurred in the video, is seen trying to help.
Let go of me!
I am stronger than you.
Let go of me!
I can do whatever I
Let go
want.
of me!
But her son overpowers the deputy, and when the deputy breaks free, she gets up and fires, but misses the son and accidentally shoots the mother, who stumbles into a chair. The son is still coming at her. She shoots again and misses. Backup arrives and he's arrested. The son was charged. The deputy was hospitalized with a concussion and is back on the force tonight. The mother is still hospitalized more than a month after the incident. David?
Steve, thank you. When we come back.
That one. That's the one. That's the one. Do that one. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Craig. All right. So I wanted to show you guys that video for a number of reasons. Number one, this is what alcohol does to a lot of people. Okay. That guy's life is completely ruined. It is completely ruined because of alcohol. Okay. He's stealing alcohol that led cops to his house. He's fucking, abusing his mom. His mom gets shot. Again, think twice before you call the cops, because there's a good chance somebody's going to get shot, and it's probably going to be your son or you. So be very, very careful. Go ahead.
Have you seen, there's this video of, for whatever reason, the cop got called to this guy's house, and there was a dog, right? And the cop flips out and pulls his gun and tries to shoot the dog.
Yeah.
And instead, he shoots the guy's wife.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I saw that.
And then sitting there trying to do chest compressions. It's like, dude, you just shot the lady. There's no need to do chest compressions. Or, like, if a cop is trying to do chest compressions on somebody that they just shot, they're trying to pump the blood out of that person so they die. And there's no repercussions for that. Like I said, man, I could freaking make a documentary on corrupt police procedures. I know so much about it at this point. Anyway.
But I mean, that video again. I wanted to show it to make sure you guys understand how dangerous it is to call the cops, and how dangerous alcohol is. I know you guys don't like to hear this, but that guy's mind was just fucking tickled, and it was done on booze. And marijuana doesn't do this to you. So there's a safer alternative. And I played a clip of Willie Nelson yesterday. If anybody's out there who smokes cigarettes, Willie Nelson said he smoked 4 packs of cigarettes a day, and then one day he rolled a joint and he never smoked another cigarette. Okay, so if you think it's going to be impossible for you to get off cigarettes, no, there's an excellent alternative. Okay, and it's safe.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, I'm from California. I've been smoking weed probably 20 years of my life.
Yeah.
At some point, I was like, hey, maybe I should like go to school or speed up a little. You know what I mean? It's just sure if weed helps people in school, but I don't know, man. It's not for everybody.
You know, it is actually. Marijuana is for everybody. Everyone has cannabinoid receptors all throughout their brain. I honestly believe a big part of the reason why there's this massive dementia problem going on in the United States, why there's this massive Alzheimer's problem going on, is because the brain is meant to be fueled at least partially by cannabis, and it's been taken completely away from people and vilified to where people don't even understand how important the cannabinoid system is to humans. So I really do think it is for everybody, almost 99.9% of the population. So
I used to buy ounces of weed off of Mexicans for like $50, man. I just, you know, and then now it's like you want me to go to a store and pay $10 a gram. Like,
I go to the store and I buy ounces for $50.
Really?
Yep. Of flour.
What store is that?
They're all over Seattle.
They usually want like 200-300 when I go there, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm not going to the right store or something.
What's that store up the street? The Wonder Emporium. What's the Wonder Emporium? Thanks, Wonder Emporium. They advertise $50 ounces like every day of the week.
Yeah, look up Thanks, Wonder Emporium. You'll see their funny cartoons. They're all over. They're all over YouTube advertising in Western Washington.
Yeah.
Huh. And it's seasonal?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
I press the flowers, man. It works great for making concentrates for sure.
Oh, right, yeah.
I just press all the flowers, you know, so they come out like this when I'm done with them. You know, they look like this, right? That's like a gram of weed for me or something like that. So, and then it looks like this. After that, it looks like this. This is flower rosin. So I press the flowers and then I scrape the flower rosin and smoke the flower rosin. Like this. Okay.
Huh. Interesting, man. I don't know.
But I grow my own. I don't go to the store and buy weed. I like to grow my own, and that way I know what it is it's made of, and you know, there's this I believe that there's like this the weed, you know, you like imprint on the weed, you know, when you're growing it, it's like it recognizes you and it grows like for you, kind of, you know.
Yeah, and if you like talk to it and stuff, it'll grow more.
Well, you know, not just that, but like I would go out and I kept finding fucking strands of hair in the flowers, like my fucking hair in the fucking flowers, my beard hair, my hair. I'm like, what the hell, man? And that's when it was growing. Ooh, look at this! I got a cheeseburger. You want a cheeseburger, Bubba?
Cheeseburger.
Oh, look at this. Who likes cheeseburgers? Who? That's right. Come here. Up. Okay. Who likes cheeseburgers? Who? Here, you want this? Come up here. Oh, good boy. What a good boy you are.
Is that McDonald's cheeseburgers?
I don't know.
We're not giving product placement until they're an official sponsor. If they want to sponsor the show, then that's what kind of cheeseburger it is.
Oh, life is so good. But we would prefer a Dick's sponsorship.
Dick's Deluxe, right?
Yeah.
Everybody in Western Washington loves big, greasy dicks.
I'd much rather feed the dog Dick's than fucking Mickey D's.
Some people from outside Western Washington will have to Google Dick's Drive-In to see what we mean. Look for the Deluxe. It's the best. cheeseburger Pacific Northwest.
You know, I'll tell you something. Craig got me sold on the cheeseburgers from Dick's, man. They're the
There's another
best.
one for her.
Oh, okay.
Give him the rest of that one.
All right, come here, Bubba.
Come here, Bubba. Come around and give her a piece too. So
I like this fries and I like this steak.
Can you come up here? Can you come up here? Can you?
That's Sammy, the white-faced one.
That's my Sammy. That's my Sammy. Oh, I love cheeseburgers too. I do. I love cheeseburgers.
They take little bites. They never bite my finger. They never bite my finger. Oh, good babies. Can you feed your big dogs like that, or they bite your fingers off?
I've been trying to feed a buddy's Rottweiler that took my hand off.
Okay, Boo Bear, come here. Come here. Come here. What are you doing? What are you doing? Come here. Come on. Oh, there's my Boo Bear. There's my Boo Bear. He's my Boo Bear.
If you like cheeseburgers, you'd probably like carne asada burritos.
He likes everything. We go to, we used to go to, what was that Mexican place we used to go and get him burritos at?
You're talking about El Camino?
No, where they would make the burritos, like you walk up there and they make them like it's like Chipotle. We used to go to Chipotle and get them burritos all the time.
They do it in a bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they like everything, man. They love pizza. They love donuts, waffles. I mean, I take really good care of the dogs. They don't get any doggy treats at all. Just human food.
Right on.
Yeah.
Hey. Oh, hey, man, you just reminded me of something I wanted to tell you about.
Yeah.
So have you heard about the freaking new YouTube terms of service that are coming out on December 10th?
Yeah. Yeah, we've been talking about that for a while here.
Okay, do you know about BitChute?
Yeah, we have a BitChute page. Here, I'll put my BitChute page into the chat room right now. Can you see the chat room?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put my link to my BitChute page in the chat room right now.
I heard a rumor that they're going to start, they're going to open up a live streaming service just like YouTube.
I really hope so. I think that would be a really good thing because then they would pretty much have everything that YouTube has.
Okay, but the other website I wanted to tell you about was DLive. Have you heard of DLive?
Yeah, I have a DLive page also. I don't think I have it.
Awesome.
Yeah, and a Twitch page also.
It's mostly for like gamers to live stream their video games that they're playing.
Yeah.
But people get on there and do other stuff though.
Yeah, no, I think we'll probably be live streaming some other things that I want to do besides the news on some of those platforms eventually. But I think this stream gets streamed out on the Twitch on a regular basis, and every once in a while on the DLive too.
I had a YouTube channel. I had a video of me washing dishes down in Belltown that had like over 50,000 views. Just one video.
Huh.
But then I said something, or the internet. These people have these like mass flagger gangs that go around. They do a lot on Twitter too. But they got these people that just like if you say something they don't like or whatever, they'll just flag the crap out of you, and the company doesn't have the time to like go through everybody doing that. They'll just delete your account. They don't care. When they piss off some Antifa or something, so they and their buddies get over there and start. It's like so childish.
Yeah.
But what do?
You keep moving forward, man. That's all we can do. We just got to keep moving forward. I mean, one of my mottos, one of the things I say all the time is march or die. I have a jacket. It says across the back of the jacket, march or die. So you keep moving forward. You keep making happen what you can make happen, and eventually, hopefully we'll get to the other side.
Yeah, man, for sure. So one more thing, then I gotta go. I just wanted to tell you, man, that if you look around at the world, if you look at the depressed people that are in the world, and depression is like a natural thing, besides what a lot of people want to say. But if you look at all the depressed people, a lot of them are actually some really good people. Evil people don't have a tendency to actually be depressed. They just hunger for more of whatever it is they want.
That seems true. That seems very true. Maybe you have to have a heart or something to be depressed.
Well, the freaking, yeah, that's it. The other thing is you have to actually be able, you have to be red-pilled enough to actually see what is going on.
Yeah.
And when you see that shit, it's depressing, man.
Yeah.
It's depressing, but
Well,
you just have to push through it.
It's very overwhelming, you know, at first, especially at first when you first start looking at it. It's very, I mean, I remember when I first started researching 9/11 and people first started talking to me about what was happening on 9/11 and all the repercussions that were coming about. It was very overwhelming. I mean, I actually literally had to tell people to stop talking about it because I couldn't take it anymore because it was like I was getting so anxious, you know. But then I started to do my own research and began to be. But it's like you're saying, it's very hard to hear at first. You know, it's like people, you know, they don't want to believe everything is so bad or everything is so evil. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it really is like strange how many people in the dark, like all they'd have to do is like 15 minutes worth of research in any given direction to find out the truth about things. They just want to be spoon-fed little factoids and not worry about it and go back to their job and go back to their dead-end cycle that they're trapped up in.
See, we talk about them like it's like you know, they want to go about their little this and their little that. Look, most people are just working, are overworked, overstressed, and what they want most of all is just 1 minute to enjoy something. I just want a minute to relax, okay? Just one fucking minute. And they don't get that, or they feel like they don't get it again and again and again. So, you know, and then you want to throw in all this other stressful stuff on top of it, and they're like, yeah, I don't want to deal with any of that, you know. So it's understandable that they just want to go about their little lives because their little lives are fucking hard enough already. You know.
I get it, man. No,
so don't be too hard on them. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not. I try to avoid them as much as I can.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's the exact opposite. They're like, why are you so different? Why don't you have a bank account or a car or a cell phone? I'm like, I'm poor. I can't afford those. Bye now. You know, when in reality, it's because I don't need any of that shit. And to try to explain to them why I don't need any of it, they start flipping out on me and stuff. So I just like leave.
Yeah, well, people are, you know, they want people to conform, and when you're not like one of them, you know, it makes them uncomfortable. So they're like, why aren't you like us? You know.
Yeah, it's like freaking hive mind or communism or something like that, man.
Exactly, yeah, I agree.
Anyway, man, I love you. I love your show. So.
Right. Well, thanks a bunch for calling. I'm glad you made it. I know it took a minute. I know you wanted to call for a minute. So thanks for waiting. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I'll link my BitChute channel in the chat if anybody cares or whatever.
Okay. All right. Thanks again. I'll talk to you soon. I hope.
Yep. Later.
Okay. So and again on that clip with the guy with the mom who got shot, that was 100% because of alcohol. Okay. And please teach your children the truth about alcohol. You know, is that you don't want them to wind up like this. You know, because that guy's life is fucking over. You know, it's ruined because of fucking alcohol. I mean, it's just as dangerous as heroin, almost, in my opinion. Okay, so let's see. Oh, you ready for bong hit, Wilco? If anybody else wants to call, I'm gonna give this another minute here. I'm gonna warm up a piece of glass here so I can rub a little bit of cannabis concentrates on it, and then inhale the vapor that comes off that warmed up piece of glass, like a civilized. Better get another tank of gas. I'm getting low. Oh, I did that imitation wrong. Here, let me get it right. Okay, yesterday I was doing that imitation. I was doing it wrong because I missed this one part. You gotta have your tongue out. That's that good. And knock it in. Knock it in. I had bad deeds. Hello, caller.
Hey, Max, how you doing?
Hey, Chris. It's good to hear from you, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I didn't get a chance to listen to the entire program, but I have been listening for about the last 45 minutes.
So you saw the cop video? You saw the shooting video?
I did. I saw the cop video,
Yeah.
and I heard Mike's call, and I heard the last call, and I might have heard part of the earlier calls, and it's been a really good program.
Right on. Thank you.
There were, yeah, it is, and there were a few things that I wanted to add about cops, because the conversation kind of veered over to cops a little bit, and I always appreciate that conversation. Like the last caller, I have an anti-authoritarian streak and don't have a lot of respect for cops.
I think an awful lot of people on this channel have that same thing. Yeah.
And I imagine a lot of that stems from bad experiences that people have had with the police, personal experiences, in addition to watching other people be abused.
I've just had people trying to be the boss of me since I was fucking little. And I never appreciated it, and I don't appreciate it now.
Yeah, I don't like that false sense of authority and assertion, and sometimes, and I think a lot of times rules are over enforced. Like, I think the best teachers are the ones in the classroom where if they see something going wrong, they note it in their mind, and then maybe they have a discussion with the person. But really, it's about, I don't know, it's about a person understanding they did something wrong more than it is about them just being punished. And there's a big difference between that and the way police treat people. Huge difference. With dignity.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking to Dwayne about, is that I want them to, care about how they're treating people, I mean, I don't think, I want them to care about us. It's like they ruin people's lives left and right for no other reason but they can. They can just, I was telling that story about me getting busted for mushrooms a while back, a couple days ago, where the cops walked in on a fucking care call, right? They're here to make, a welfare check because someone called 911, and they fucking wind up busting me for mushrooms, 10 grams of mushrooms that were fucking 5 years old. I'm sleeping in my bed, not dancing naked on the freeway, and they could have just walked away and with no big thing. Well, everything's fine here. There's nothing to report, but they chose to do something different.
Well, this was in Washington State. Just curious, was it here in the state? Okay. The reason I asked that question is I had a coworker about a year ago who had a very similar experience to the one that you just described to me, right? He was living in a community house. There were 3 or 4 bedrooms in the house, and one person was dealing herb. Maybe they weren't even dealing very much herb, but maybe they were dealing a half a pound of herb or something every month, not too much. And they weren't very careful, and they ended up drawing attention to the house. So the police raided the house, arrested the housemaid or whatever, they found somebody to narc on him near high school or something. And they ended up searching this person who I worked with, his room, and found, he claimed less than an eighth or, less than 2 grams of psychedelic mushrooms, dried mushrooms.
Yeah.
And he completely, I think it flipped him out. I think that actually totally changed. I met this person after this experience happened earlier in his life. But his attitude towards the police, I think that changed his attitude huge because he got a felony out of it.
Yeah.
He got a felony rap out of it.
Yeah.
And I think he even did 6 months at a state prison or something in rural Washington.
Yeah.
Doing remedial work or something to humiliate him for having a few little mushrooms in his room that he wasn't selling or trading with anybody, right? Just the absurdity of this. But what happened in that guy's mind was he became a fucking authoritarian. True and true. And then he basically blamed himself for the whole experience. And, you know, I have all kinds of things around me, and I'm really open, and I'm not very fearful about being open about who I am. But this other person was the exact opposite. And I think a lot of it stemmed from the humiliation he experienced going through the system, and then just capitulating and saying, fuck it. I can't get away with anything, so the man is the man. Just like that. It was so sad to talk with somebody who had that attitude. You know what I mean?
It's easier than fighting. I mean, I know that everybody thinks that, you know, fighting is the natural state, but I think it's just easier to capitulate, and you know, and I don't want to make waves. The last thing I want is any trouble with the police. End of story.
Yeah. Well, that certainly seems to be the case in many cases. So there's this story I found yesterday that was interesting. It's from Phys.org. It's a science site, right? And at this site, Phys.org, there was an article called "Study Shows That There's Nothing Wacky About Conspiracy Theorists." That's the title. Nothing wacky about conspiracy theorists. It's a study that was done at the Australian National University. And what they did is they looked at different comments that people made on Reddit conspiracy theories, and then they analyzed the comments and contrasted them and compared them with other threads on Reddit to see if they could determine whether there was something wrong with these people or the people who claim to believe in conspiracy theories versus people who just comment about other things. And oddly enough, the study vindicated conspiracy theorists completely. It said the study looked at 8 years of content, sifting through 2 billion comments posted at Reddit. Our conspiracy covers everything from UFOs and 9/11 to political conspiracy theories like Pizzagate. But despite the subject matter, the lead author of the study says conspiracy theorists aren't a bunch of crackpots wearing tinfoil hats. In the past, before the rise of forums like Reddit, we tended to hear only the most extreme views, and those people tended to naturally be wary about talking to someone about their beliefs. Massive online forums paint a very different picture. The enormous set of comments we examined showed many conspiracy users actually have more sensible interest. And when I read that word, Max, sensible interest, that's always fuzzy language. I don't know what the hell they mean by that. But they said a common example of conspiracy theories about police abuse of power are common, and that's not so crazy. These people might believe false things, but with good reason, because similar things have happened in the past. Professor Klein also found that while there are subtle differences in the language used by those who end up posting on conspiracy threads, it's not necessarily enough to set them apart from other Reddit users. You find people talking about power or power structures, but the language isn't that different from what ordinarily goes on in a forum like politics. So there's this misconception, right, that's promoted by mainstream media, and I think I mentioned that the term conspiracy theorist was actually coined by the Central Intelligence Agency, like in the late 1960s, as a way to respond to the theories that were emerging about the Kennedy assassination. So they put this stigmatic label on people, calling them this name. And as time goes on, it's just been proven that people who believe in conspiracy theories, they question a little more. That doesn't mean that there's something wrong with them, or there's something wrong with their ideology or the way they're approaching things. That I find is interesting.
You know, I think people who ask questions, you know, it's like Tulsi Gabbard going to, you know, to Syria to talk with Assad. You know, she knows that the Pentagon lied to get us into Iraq, and that's not a conspiracy theory. But if you say that to the mainstream media, that's how they'll paint it. So that's what the facts are, is that a lot of the things that are labeled conspiracy theories just simply are not that. You know, it's actual information that that is unacceptable to the mainstream storyline.
So when you make an argument, like in your mind or on a piece of paper, and you create an outline and you fill in the outline with the evidence, when I do it, I mean, just because you create an outline doesn't mean you're right. It just means you're guessing. It's like, there's a word for it. It's called hypothesis testing. It just means that you're just throwing something out there and you're analyzing it from a certain perspective, and this could be true. As long as you preface it that way, I think people are pretty safe in surmising what they think might be happening.
Right. That's the way I always say about like 9/11. As I say, I don't know what happened on that day for sure, but I'm pretty damn sure that the government's lying to me about what happened on that day. You know.
I'm pretty sure that probably is the case.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, there's this website. When you all were talking about police brutality, I immediately went to this website called Before It's News, which is one of these police accountability pages that's been purged from some of the social media sites. And there's another article at Reason.com. It's called Before It's News.
Okay, I've heard of them before.
Right. And at this site I saw today, and I didn't see this previously, it says, suicide or suicided. Jeffrey Epstein's private wealth banker found dead by hanging. Dateline Wednesday, December 4th. That would be like yesterday. Says, as the story of the alleged deceased billionaire and convicted pedophile Epstein continues to unfold, more people are turning up dead who are linked to him. The latest to leave the planet is corporate banker Thomas Bowers, who ran the U.S. division of private wealth management for Deutsche Bank AG, which is, some people believe that because Epstein really screwed up an account at Deutsche Bank, like he had a huge amount of credit and that money was missing and he needed to make a payment, that was what it was, which is the reason why the plug was pulled from the bathtub and they arrested him and they killed him. That's one theory. But it says, after allegedly being found swinging from a rope, his death was ruled a suicide, this banker. However, he wasn't just tied to Jeffrey Epstein, he was also tied to President Donald Trump. The Daily Mail from Britain reports Thomas Bowers, 55, hanged himself on November 19th at his Malibu home. The banker was not working for Deutsche Bank at the time. He is among a handful of people who signed off on loans totaling $2 billion to Donald Trump in the decades before he became president, even after other institutions had turned him down for loans. True Pundit adds there was an investigation being conducted by the FBI into bank loans that he approved for Jeffrey Epstein and some of his many companies. He headed the private wealth banking division for Deutsche Bank and signed off on millions in loans to Epstein. Prior to taking over the private banking arm at Deutsche Bank, he served in the same top position at Citibank as the head of the bank's private wealth arm. Citibank also made massive loans to Jeffrey Epstein, according to records and banking sources who spoke to True Pundit. So that's the original source, Max, it's True Pundit. But that's interesting because, I also found out that the lead investigator in Florida, who was 50 years old, this is from the Washington Standard, also died after, very recently, like in the last 6 months.
Lead investigator of Jeffrey Epstein?
Yes. The guy in Florida. Okay, so if you remember, in 2008 or 2007 or 2008, Jeffrey Epstein got busted by the Fed in South Florida. Like, I think it was in West Palm Beach, which is the same community where Donald Trump has his resort, right?
Uh-huh.
That's where Jeffrey Epstein lived, and that's where Jeffrey Epstein first got in trouble for like having sex with underage girls. But they could only pin it on like 1 or 2 examples, even though there were like 50 or 25 or 50 cases that were pending. They only pinned it down on 1 or 2, and that's where that Jeffrey Acosta, the Attorney General of the United States, was involved, because he was a lead attorney in Florida at the time that all these shenanigans were occurring. Anyway, the detective who initially broke the case, so this is like what the article says. Like, here's a brief part right here. It says, blah, 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 blah. So the guy's name was Reiter, Reiter. And it said, for Detective Reiter, business tycoon Jeffrey Epstein wasn't any more formidable than any of the other 8,000 or so wealthy and powerful people living on the island. Police had handled sensational cases involving wealthy residents before, from the murders of the heiress and rape case involving William Henry Smith of the Kennedy family. Blah, 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 blah. But it was a little surprising, even to Reiter, to learn that one of its residents had a revolving door of middle and high school girls coming to his gated compound through the day and night. In their first media interviews about the case, Reiter and Ricari revealed new details about the investigation and how they were, in their view, pressured by then Palm Beach State Attorney Barry Kirshner to downgrade the case to a misdemeanor or drop it altogether. It became apparent to me that some of the evidence was being leaked to Epstein's lawyers, who began to question everything that we had in our probable cause affidavit. On the day of the search, October 2005, they found that most of Epstein's computer hard drive, surveillance cameras, and videos had been removed from the house, leaving loose, tangled wires, according to the police report. But the girl's description of the house squared with what detectives found, right down to the hot pink couch and the dresser drawer of sex toys in Mr. Epstein's bathroom. So this man, Mr. Reiter, he died at the age of 50 after a sudden illness.
That makes total sense. I mean, this is how the trail ends, so to speak.
So this is the paragraph from the beginning of the story. It says, regardless, all we know is he had a sudden, brief illness and died as a result at the young age of 50. He literally went home from work one night feeling great, and then 2 days later was dead. He was just one of two people willing to put his career on the line to go after Epstein. Palm Beach Police Chief Michael Reiter was the other man that joined him. The Seattle Times reported on the two men and the work that took place in the case and the revelations that Reiter and Ricari brought to light. So they were even noted in the mainstream media, a regular newspaper, the Seattle Times.
Yeah.
And, so I mean, and then the other one I saw that was weirdly related, this all comes back. Remember all of the memes about the Clinton, the Clinton death toll? Remember that?
Yeah.
The MEMA files, remember that? The cocaine that was running? They were doing the coke stuff, all that, right? Which again falls under this conspiracy thing, right? But this was an article from the Washington Standard.
What's the name of that Tom Cruise movie? Made in America? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the one about, that's right, about the triangle of the drug running and the airplane flights. That's exactly right. So this one is, so it turns out that the federal judge in New York City who oversaw release of Jeffrey Epstein's sealed records was found dead or late last spring. And his name was Robert Sweet, and he presided over a key lawsuit relating to wealthy Clinton-connected financier Jeffrey Epstein, who was found dead in March. However, no cause of death was determined at the time. It says that he was 96 years old. You can always wonder about that. But he died at his home in Ketchum, Idaho. That is about 3 blocks from where my friend lives. While on vacation, the New York Times reported, he was appointed by President Carter in 1978. Politico reported that Sweet was presiding over the lawsuit that followed what many saw as an unusual plea deal for Jeffrey Epstein. Alexander Acosta, that lawyer from West Palm Beach, the current U.S. Secretary of Labor, negotiated what critics called a sweetheart deal, potentially corrupt plea deal with Jeffrey Epstein when he was the United States Attorney for the Southern District of Florida. The arrangement required Epstein to pay restitution to dozens of victims, but offered a variety of unusual concessions as part of a non-prosecution agreement. So it says that's right. It's not just the D's caught up in Epstein. Republicans had their hand in it as well. And in Chicago, so it goes on. Robert Sweet was killed. And also, it says he presided over the Harvey Weinstein case as well, according to the New York Post.
Wow. Well, I think it's always weird when the same guy gets cases like that. Don't you think that's odd too?
Yeah, and I heard something earlier. One of the first victims I heard was the butler, if I'm not mistaken. I think that his personal servant or something like that in New York, his personal attendant or something, ended up dying this summer as well in unusual circumstances.
I didn't hear that.
So there's like 3 or 4 right there, and that, and that's not even really going into the full on as people who spend all their time researching this. That was just in 15 minutes. So there's a lot of it. I mean, it's just a really sketchy, yuck.
It's just obviously it's dangerous work. I mean, if everybody's winding up dead who's fucking working on this stuff, and that's what happens. That's why you don't see a whole lot of journalists going after it. I think is they see people dying and they're like, but I don't care. That's their job. You can't fucking cringe in fear because you might get in trouble because you fucking report the story that's important to be reported, Don't get in the kitchen if it's too hot or whatever.
A lot of things I think are just not discussed. A lot of subjects are just not discussed, but the messages are made clear. For example, when Michael Hastings, the Rolling Stone reporter, his car accelerated to 80, 100 miles an hour in an urban space, hit a tree and exploded.
Right.
All in a matter of seconds. And there's no suicide note. There's no reason why the car is supposed to blow up.
Yeah.
There are all these weird things,
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, if fucking Mercedes were blowing up because they crashed, you'd see them all over the fucking street on fire, and nobody would be buying them. I'm really, really surprised. I'm really, really surprised that Mercedes didn't have a whole lot more to do with the investigation here,
Yeah, well, I mean, there weren't a lot of explanations. It just seemed really fucking weird. And on top of it, Michael Hastings' death, the day that he died, he had said to his friends, and I think he'd written it down on paper, that he felt he was being followed by the FBI. He felt he was under intense surveillance. Somebody was following him. He said he felt alarmed. I mean, I'm sure investigative journalists feel that all the time.
Right, but I'm sure
he made that observation.
I wouldn't think he would say something like that to his friends if he didn't actually believe that he was in danger, You don't want to go around telling people, getting people worried about you being in danger unless it's actually true, and then you have to tell them just in case something does happen, so they know, they know that you were worried about something, and then it did happen.
And Gary Webb, who died from suicide after he had been discredited by the Washington Post, and then discredited by all the papers in America, and then after he had lost his job, and then after he was washed out, blah, 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 or whatever, so they say. Although some of his information was coming out on community television, some of his information was coming out in, the emerging internet, maybe, like in the 90s, right? The early 90s. And also some of his information was coming out in the independent press. But they claim that he was just this despondent guy who went out in the woods with his dad's gun, like Mike has mentioned before, and shot himself a couple times in the head. But he wasn't in the media. But, I mean, he was, he had been he had already been dismissed. But not Michael Hastings. Michael Hastings was a reporter on staff with Rolling Stone, which is a prominent American magazine. So I think that by killing him,
and he was also on all of the news channels on a fairly regular basis.
Yeah, as an analyst, as a person you could talk to who knew about the military and about intelligence.
Yeah.
So I think that even though it wasn't discussed on CNN or on Democracy Now, Democracy Now did a cover-up of it. Actually, they had his girlfriend on and one of his family members on, and they're like, "Oh, we're just appalled. We're appalled that people are even considering that such and such happened." It just didn't happen that way. It's total denial.
It's his wife. I'm pretty sure he was married to Elise Jordan. Pretty sure they were married.
And I think even though it wasn't discussed in any of those venues, that his death was just a clear message to all the other journalists who are working today.
Right.
All of the independent journalists like Aaron Mate and Ben Norton and all of those people, but also people who work for CNN or NBC or who work for the New York Times.
Or anybody in the know who thinks that they might be able to get some fucking truth out. Don't do it.
Right, or you'll end up like Michael Hastings or Julian Assange, like a martyr, dead person.
Yeah. Or I mean, a bunch of people died right after 9/11. Right after 9/11, there was the people that were questioning what happened. And then all of a sudden, like 10 days after 9/11, there was the anthrax attacks. And the anthrax went out to media outlets and to members of Congress. Okay? So it's not like, oh, we're gonna spread fear across the world or across the nation. It was fucking, it was people in power who had the ability to say something's not right here, and they fucking shut it all down. That's when the media died for sure. There was nothing.
Military grade anthrax from a special lab in fucking Iowa or Minnesota or something in the middle of nowhere, and it ended up in an office complex in New York or somewhere in Washington D.C. or something.
Right. Well, Tom Daschle's office, and what's the guy from Nevada, the senator?
Reed.
Yeah, Reed.
Senator Reed.
No, maybe not him. But Tom Daschle, I'm pretty sure, got a letter with anthrax in it.
John Kerry, hopefully.
And there was media outlets I think there was a couple media outlets in Florida that got it, like ABC and CBS, I think. And some people died. I think like a couple of media people died and a couple mail carriers died.
And then the media, over the course of a couple of years, and the government over the course of a couple of years, didn't they come to the conclusion that it was just some rogue, it could have been a rogue employee or something like that, like a single individual.
Yeah, it was like some chemist. It was like some chemist who fucking was all alone in his little fucking hole in this bio laboratory, and he was able to smuggle this stuff out. What a load of bullshit. That stuff is impossible to handle. Anything outside of laboratory fucking setting, you cannot handle it without getting severely fucking ill. And so it's just another fucking bullshit cover up, and it's clear that this is how the government works, is that we're going to go and we're going to do whatever fucking games it is we want to do, and if you speak out against us or if you have any evidence that says we did something wrong, you're gone. So you better keep it to yourself.
Well, the whole creation of the national, I've mentioned this before, but the whole creation of the national security state following World War II, that's when the Central Intelligence Agency was created. And whenever, it was Harry Truman, but whenever the Congress passed that legislation, I mean, they should have put some sunset provisions or something in effect, because you run the risk, right? If you have this huge agency that is just designed to overthrow government and gather information from American corporations and the government to analyze to help them with their business program, which is taking over the entire planet, you've got to imagine that a politician representing a corrupt political party could probably do a lot of damage if they were able to co-opt and manage and use that institution for their own nefarious ends.
And they have, clearly.
Yeah, Iran-Contra, the NEMA thing, right, the Air America folks.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and all the bullshit in Ukraine that we're witnessing right now.
And we witnessed in the fucking election, back in 2016, 2015, the Ukraine elections, where the fucking whole city, the whole fucking country melted down. And it was all because of American fucking involvement in their elections, just like they keep talking about how fucking, Russia interfered in our elections. Well, fucking, that's exactly what we do, so we're all clear.
It's actually our modus operandi.
Yeah.
That's how we roll. I mean, that's how we roll around the world.
Right.
That's what, if we try to overthrow governments to create instability, put new governments in power before we resort to bombing them, and before we resort to full-on military invasion. But it's part of our program.
And we get control of them with money. You know, we go in and we the Confessions of an Economic Hitman, where we go in and we build.
That's right.
You know, we build fucking infrastructure or whatever it is, or just loan them out of something, and then we own them, and you're not able to make your payments. So You do what we say, or you're fucking in big.
We'll cut the money off.
Yeah.
And if you still don't pay attention to what happens when we cut the money off, well then I advise you do not get in an airplane for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Or my
exactly.
Like that senator from Minnesota.
Yeah.
Paul Wellstone.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Now that's kind of granted, like politicians fly on these airplanes more than anyone else because it's like movies, musicians, right? They're always going everywhere in these little planes. They tend to crash more than other people, but that was like one of, I think, 2 people or 1 key person in the U.S. Senate who voted against that war.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
And he was asking questions about 9/11 also. He was kind of outspoken, and that wasn't going to play in a never-ending war of choice based on lies. So,
Well, it's really important, I think, as Americans, that we remember these people like Gary Webb and people like Michael Hastings and people like Julian Assange, because the main culture, the kind of predominant authoritarian culture society that we live in, is trying to eradicate those people's names from our memory. I think of that book, American Gods, by Neil Gaiman. Have you ever read that one?
No.
It's a good story. It's a story about how machines are kind of taking over the world, but it's set in a human way, where in a contemporary setting where people who live in America still worship the gods from Europe, including Loki and Odin, and also Celtic gods and gods from the Middle East and gods from the Mediterranean. But they culturally still respect these people and make offerings to them in a little way in their life. But this other force in the world, which is this money, capitalism, technological force for progress, is killing all of the gods from the past one by one. And the novel is from it's a fantasy story, but it's from the perspective of one person who interacts with all of these gods as they kind of become zapped by the machine culture. And kind of reminds me of our culture in a way. And I think that they're trying very hard to just eradicate any memory of people like Daniel Ellsberg, Julian Assange, Gary Webb,
I think they've gotten very good at wiping people's memories. I mean, people's memory, people's short-term memory seems to be, their attention span, it seems. It seems like it's that of a fucking fruit net, man. You know what I mean? They just have to keep clicking, keep moving. I can't focus on anything. I have to have stuff moving in the background for me to be able. I can't just sit here and talk to people. I have to have stuff moving in the background to keep their attention. It's
a lot of people like to mention. They use the word communism in a very kind of derisive way. And the examples in their mind of what they associate with that very loaded word are often like things that have been told to them through television, through the movies, and also through the history that they received in a capitalist economy. So they'll use the word communism in a way that demonstrates they don't even understand what the word means. However, what's interesting is that in the United States, we disappear people all the time. And we're doing it right now, Michael. Like all the names I mentioned are people who are dead, or who are alive, but they're just being kind of written out of the record. The famous example from the Soviet Union was Leon Trotsky, who was one of the people who started the revolution and then he was in power, but he got dislodged from power by Stalin, as Stalin consolidated power in this kind of autocratic way, so he had to leave the country. And he got written out of all of the history books. He got written out of all of the storybooks and the theory of Marxism. He got written out of it. And we do the same thing here. So I kind of don't like the way that people use that word. I like the word authoritarian or autocratic, autocracy, or one-person rule, because that could happen in any political system, by the way.
I agree. It could happen in any system. It's just any system isn't important right now. What matters is the one that we're in, and that it's out of control, and that we can't do anything about what's going on in Russia or China.
Especially 70 years ago.
But yeah, right. It's been out of control for that long, easily. But like I said, we just have to get control of. We have to come together. We have to move beyond all this fucking label shit, this communism, this whatever. You hear the word, if someone says the word communism to you, you know that they're trying to trigger you. Okay, that's a trigger word. That's just being used in order for you to go, ooh, fucking evil, bad.
That is true, but it also, and they may not recognize this when they use that word in divisive way, but it also, when a person uses the word in that context, it tells you a lot about their political education and their ideological perspective. So if you overhear that used in such a way, it's a telltale.
And that they're trying to manipulate you. Again, I think this is what the most important thing to recognize is. They're trying to trigger you. They're using these are dog whistle terms and words because they know that you'll have this Pavlovian response to it.
Yes.
So
that's exactly right.
So don't buy into it, and know that when you hear people using words like that, those people are not in your best interest. They're trying to trigger you. You being triggered is not a positive thing in any way.
No, and they do it a lot with Iran, don't they?
Yeah.
With the Iranians.
Yeah.
We do it. We hear it a lot about they're dangerous. They have a funny kind of political system.
But they say
here's
what I keep hearing. We just want Iran to act like a normal country. What the fuck does that mean? Okay, I hear fucking Donald Trump saying any of the fucking lead top people in the world, not in the world, in the United States, they're talking about Iran. This is a normal thing. This is what they're going to say because it's part of the script. Okay, again, this is how they trigger you. We just want Iran to act like a normal country. Fuck you. Iran just wants to be a normal country, and you won't let them be for one fucking second. You won't even let them get medicine for their fucking children. That's how disgusting American government is.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of the cop who went up to Eric Garner selling cigarettes on the street or something and said he just wanted him to be a normal person and stop selling cigarettes, and then proceeded to kill him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this normal thing. I mean, what, normal like the United States, who fucking, who based on lies invades Iraq, which is Iran's neighbor, and murders 1 million innocent Iraqis. And yeah, we just want them to behave like a normal country. Well, what the fuck is America behaving like?
Yeah, and then to top it off, before even 1991, in 1991 we went into Iraq after we invaded Kuwait, right? But then all the way through the 90s, before even 2004, we imposed sanctions on them and killed 1 million people. But before the 91 incident, we armed Iraq to the teeth to kill like 800,000 Iranians.
Right, which is another reason Iran has every right in the world to hate America. Call America the great Satan. Because America gave a fucking insane megalomaniac like Saddam Hussein chemical weapons and then assisted him in the use of those chemical weapons because the fucking Iraqis were not smart enough to use that shit.
The only chemical weapons that were in Iraq were given to them by the Americans, by Donald Rumsfeld in like the 80s.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why when they went there to look for the chemical weapons, they knew what they were looking for.
Right.
They knew what they expected to find. And from what I recall, reading articles about the United Nations weapons inspectors, they actually destroyed those weapons. So the chemical weapons that they actually had were destroyed with some kind of people watching them.
Yeah.
And they just made these fabricated claims that there were these other chemical weapons.
And
it was all
aluminum tubes. They had aluminum tubes
that was
and yellow cake.
Yeah, garbage. Just pulled out of thin fucking air. Out of not pulled out of thin air. Created by the intelligence agencies, dossiers that were created by MI6 and by the CIA to present the argument for the statesmen and diplomats. So they were fabricating evidence to present in a court, basically, at the United Nations. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's the thing also about the United States.
But we got to impeach Trump. But we got to impeach Trump.
We can put, I don't know. I mean, it's just so messed up, right? But the fact that that guy from Serbia, Milosevic, got put on trial in the International Criminal Court, the only reason he was put on trial is because he was a foe of NATO. And it's the same with the African leaders from Central Africa who've been put on trial for corruption at the International Court of the Criminal Court.
Well, there was some pretty nasty shit that went down in Yugoslavia, from what I understand, though.
And there's some pretty nasty shit that went on in Africa, in Central Africa, with crazy people in power.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
But the thing with that, there's a different perspective by that guy I've mentioned before, Michael Parente, who lives in California, is a professor. But it's the fact that, like, Yugoslavia was an integrated economy that was broken up by the West, and as it was broken up into these pieces, there was factional infighting on both sides. And actually, the U.S. and NATO were arming certain factions that were opposed to the Serbians. So even though you always have to throw that caveat out, well, there were crimes committed on both sides, which I will accept is true, that our level of involvement in undermining them was much greater than just dropping NATO bombs on Serbia and Kosovo. It's a complicated story. But at the end of the day, we put that dude on trial. We didn't put, like you say, George Bush or Barack Obama or Bill Clinton or Ronald Reagan or George Bush the father. We didn't put any of those people on trial.
They put Bill Clinton on trial, but they put him on trial for getting a fucking blowjob in the Oval Office. I mean, how fucking idiotic is this shit, man? There's good reasons that these people should be held accountable. I mean, they committed pure evil in our name, solely for the purpose to make them more rich, and that couldn't be more disgusting in my book. So yeah, I want them fucking. I want accountability for the Cheney family and George W. Bush family, for sure.
So I was participating in a comment thread the other day, or reading a comment thread, and there was this discussion going on about like truth and reconciliation commissions that have happened in a few countries. Like I think they happened in South Africa. And the conversation was about how we could do that in the United States. Is that ever even possible? Is it even a possibility to imagine that could happen in the United States? Looking at other examples where that happened, it happened in Guatemala, it happened in South Africa. But the one example that kind of sticks out in the mind is that those are little countries. Like South Africa is an industrial country, part of BRICS, but it's not a major power. But the only time major powers ever are held accountable for their crimes, ever, and the greatest example is the Nuremberg trials, is after they've been conquered, vanquished, and occupied by military force. That's the only time that those people are held accountable to the degree that they're responsible. Because if you think about the amount, I've heard numbers of over 20 million people is how many people the United States has killed since 1945.
Well, that's entirely possible. I
That's
mean,
a lot of blood, Mike.
They bombed the
That's quite
fucking
a few
shit out of
people.
Korea, and they bombed the fucking shit out of Vietnam, man. So.
They overthrew governments in Iran and Guatemala. They killed in Vietnam. They killed like 5 million people in Southeast Asia. All the countries affected by that. In the Middle East, they blew up Southeast Asia. They blew up the Middle East. Just you add it all together. Now, if the people who are really responsible for those crimes, are they ever going to be held responsible? No. It's basically what would have happened if the Nazis, and it's a classic example because they're our villain in our minds, right? But what would have happened if they had won and just continued taking over the world for 75 years? Then how do you hold those people responsible for their crimes?
Because that's what's happened here, is what you're saying.
That is what's happened here.
Yeah.
And most of the smartest people that I know on that thread, and they're older than me and they're smarter than me, came to the same conclusion. It's just there's no way to think your way out of that, because we cannot be occupied by, even if you said like, well, maybe it'd be good for us, right? I mean, I could go to prison for even saying this in 5 years, right? Maybe it would be good for us, but if the Chinese just took over our government and said, man, these crazy people have stopped killing people and they got to start focusing on their own stuff, like what we did in Japan and what we also did in Germany, similar. But it can't even happen, right? Because of nuclear weapons.
Yeah. Well, I think
So we would literally blackmail the rest of the world,
right,
with annihilation,
right,
before we would ever relinquish our power.
And I'm pretty sure that's what they've done in order to get away with things like Iraq and stuff.
Yeah. And Israel.
Yeah. And Vietnam and all this other shit, man. You don't like it? Fucking here. Well then, what are you gonna do about it? All right. Hey, go ahead, Chris.
I'll let you go, Mike. Yep, I appreciate the call and the program.
Hey, I appreciate the call. I appreciate the call too, Chris. It's really nice to hear from you, and I really appreciate what you add to the show all the time. Okay.
Thanks. You have a good night. Bye bye.
Right, talk to you soon. Okay, so I am pretty much out of here because I'm hungry. And we talked for 3.5 hours. Okay, so, and I'm glad we had this time to do this. I'm glad all you guys made it in. It's good to see Michelle here. I was worried we didn't see Michelle yesterday. I'm glad to see Michelle today. I am going to go make myself a big fat burrito, and I gotta write a bunch of emails. So I hope things are good where you are, and thanks so much for tuning in. We're going to do this again tomorrow night. We'll do it every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. That's the same Mox time, same Mox channel. Okay, so we'll see you there. Stay cool, stay down. Thanks, everybody.